These are tales of danger and the pursuit of endless riches. Adventurers and heroes from all parts of the world charging into the unknown, setting steel and magic against the most impossible foes, with each time wondering if this would be the last. Storms gather on the horizon, and evil rises from the waters of despair. These are tales of endless adventure. These are the Awakened Fables.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Cold War of Thogcha. I am Dungeon Master Sam, and with me today we have the full group of Addison, Luke E, Luke F, Michael, and Rob. As of the last session, the group were able to successfully vanquish the Fey Lady Rhiannon, who had at that time been maintaining a court in the in the High Royal Keep of Thogcha. After her defeat, they were able to escape from the Royal Keep and make their way back down to the warehouse, where they had to report in that they had unfortunately lost the capacity to try and recreate the cold iron dagger, which they had. As a result, they began to turn their attention to other plans, specifically to try and get the powers and abilities back of the last member of the party, Tinkerette. Now, Tinkerette's abilities allegedly lay deep within the riverbed, and the group, along with the other warriors of the clans, were able to establish that it's likely that his power is being held in the court of the Storm Hag. From there, they got her attention, and doing so managed to completely destroy the warehouse, and after that they began to make a barter with the Fey Queen for passage into her demi-plane. After a quick negotiation, the group were eventually allowed in, and as of the end of the last session, they were just reveling in the sight of the Storm Hag's palace, which currently lies within her own private demi-plane on the Feywilds. Now, guys, as of last session, I did mention that you might need to brush up on some of your underwater interactions just in case things happen. Being a DM, I have tried to preempt exactly what you guys are going to do. I'm probably going to fail horribly, so if you guys need help or prompting regarding underwater rules, especially when it comes to fireballs and lightning bolts, please let me know. Alrighty. So, whoa, that's music.
It was Rhiannon, sorry.
Sure. Now, right at the end of the last session, you guys had been welcomed into the demi-plane by the Storm Hag herself, who advised that you were now here under the rules of hospitality, which determines that while you are here, she is responsible for feeding and housing you, but at the same time, you are not allowed to harm hers or anyone around her, or any of her other guests, and likewise, they are not allowed to harm you. You did also get a brief glimpse of the changeling who currently embodies Tinkerette's powers, and that was where we finished our last session. So, to set the scene for you guys now, this is going to be the first day that you are within the Storm Hag's demi-plane. You have spent at least one night here, but not too much has happened overnight. You have been advised that there is the expectation that you attend both her day court and potentially her night court, but you must attend one or the other at some point during that your stay here. Now, the only other thing that you guys were made aware of is that, according to Solothime, the man who is currently taking charge of the clans back in Thogcha, you must be wary about consuming any food while in a Fey realm. So, do you guys have any personal sustenance that you're able to subsist on, or do you guys have any ideas about how to get around that?
I have presumably very wet travel rations.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get travel rations.
Yeah, travel rations or a devil may care attitude.
And
I've got good berries. Don't have to have your wet rations anymore.
okay, duck man.
What the hell was that?
I think Donald Duck just joined the campaign, so guys, be prepared to not be healed ever.
That's alright, he can swim at least.
I thought he was meant to be a beluga whale or something. I really hope you're using a voice modifier, because if you're doing that like manually, Addison, your throat is going to hurt after 20 minutes.
I think you might you're using helium balloons. Anyway.
What?
Okay, we can't understand you.
According to the Discord, he said BRB. All right, well, moving on. Okay, so as I said just prior to the recording, guys, I'm going to be trying a different style of DMing for this, just to keep the story going and keep it a little bit... It will result with you guys getting a little bit more segmented, but I'm hoping a little bit more character spotlight on each of you, since I'm aware I can be very bad with sharing the spotlight, especially with some of the more charismatic members of the party. So, gentlemen, we start our tale with the first of our little challenges. Norloth. So, a subtle comment from the Storm Hag has set you to pondering. He knows that the legends that mortals who eat the food of the Fae are doomed to remain caught in their realms forever. However, you're not entirely sure as to whether this is a spell or something innate to the realms themselves. So, it's research time. How would you like to approach this particular problem?
Can I grab some of the food and cast Detect Magic on it?
You may. Alright, so when you detect the magic, you are not able to detect anything out of any sorts. It feels like this magic is this food is devoid of any magic that you're able to detect whatsoever. However, even holding the food, you are still able to sense the thaumic presence of a power that you're still not overly aware of.
Yes, we can hear you now. That was cool, though.
More importantly, was it intentional?
No, I was playing around with the voice mod with my mates, and then I probably forgot to... I probably loaded up after I booted up my computer, and it suddenly kicked in.
Got it. Alright.
Apologies.
Hey, we were entertained. Okay, so Luke, for this particular one, I would probably recommend either an Arcana or a Nature check. Again, I am always willing to accept other alternatives as well.
I'm going to go Nature.
Nature, alright, hit me up. 24, wow, somebody actually passed a Nature check in one of my podcasts. Okay. So, it's taken much gentle probing and the creative use of a chamber pot. However, Norloth can say conclusively that the charm that seems to bind people to this plane appears to be innate to the plane itself. However, after multiple testing and an exhaustive array of experiments, you have been able to slam together a special charm that can temporarily stave off these effects. However, this charm is going to be at the cost of a level 2 spell slot per person you cast it on, and that will last for 24 hours per person.
I think we'll just leave it for now, and if we need to eat food later, we'll cast it.
Yep, no worries. Alright, so...
If someone were to have a fey creature living in their skull, would the magic work the same way?
That depends. What sort of check do you want to figure that out with?
Trial and error?
Trial and error. Alright.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is your character is going to eat something and you just want to eventually... let me be notified in case it becomes relevant later.
Yes.
Okay, noted. Alright. So, Luke, Norloth's experimentations are going to be taking place throughout the day. So, at the same time, guys, the rest of you will be up to various things. But, is there anything else you would also like to set your efforts to while you're also either attending the day court or helping out your friends with some other things as they pop up?
Can I get the hag's permission to possibly go to its research library, or?
Mm-hmm. All right. So upon approaching the Storm Hag during her day court, you do what you presume are customary greetings before you ask permission. Is there anything you would like to do to bolster your request, or are you just going to do a flat request?
Just do a flat request.
Do a flat request? All right. So the Storm Hag lounges on her throne. She is the epitome of horror and ugliness that you've ever seen from any particular humanoid. As she leers down at you, today it seems that she only has one particularly bucked tooth, which is just kind of constantly poking out of her mouth, along with a variety of warts, which all seem to have one or two very wiry looking hairs just coming from the end of them. In doing so, she leans down from her chair and she just leers at you. You want to use one of my beloved phase experimentation laboratories? Is there any reason why I should allow this? Frankly, I see it to my detriment if some of my lovely guests attempt to leave here prematurely.
It's not about leaving here prematurely. I'm just, as a scholar, I'm always interested in knowledge and just want to do my best while I'm here to learn.
So with that, she begins to tap on her nose before you can see a quick glimmer of interest in her eyes, which she very quickly tries to hide. All right, my boy, you know what? I enjoy a challenge here. I'll give you use of one of my, whatever you call it, research rooms. We'll just clear out a room somewhere and I'll have some of my my boys wait on you. But if you only have today to try and solve this particular dilemma, and tonight we will engage in an immense feast, and of course I expect to see you and your comrades partaking their full fill. It would hurt the feelings of the cooks, you know, if you just try and avoid their cooking.
Of course.
Alrighty, so obviously we already have the outcome for that particular one. So from there, you are provided with a small room where you are waited on by a specific fae. You aren't allowed near any particular library or source of knowledge, but when you do request an item, the fae very quickly arranges for it to be delivered to you.
Quick thing, with that food thing, if I upcast it, can I do more people at once?
So hit me up with an Arcana. 26. Wow, you're rolling really well tonight. All right. If you are inclined to upcast it, then yes, you'll be able to hit more people at once. So for a level 5 spell slot, you'll be able to hit 10 or more. 10. For a level 4 spell slot, you'll be able to hit 5.
Cool. I'm just gonna hit all of us right now with that.
All right.
And because of my, what is it, Tomb of
Your Tomb of what now?
My Aspect of the Moon.
Ah.
I can actually have a short rest while reading, so
Yeah, convenient.
yeah, that works out well.
Excellent. All right, so for the rest of you gents, that will be being put on you tonight before the feast that the Storm Hag has mentioned. In the meantime, let's jump over to the next segment that's in line, which belongs to Will Ferrell. All right. So, during a break between the sessions of court held by the Storm Hag, Will found himself wandering the grounds of the palace. A large noise draws his attention, and he finds himself witnessing several fae attempting to wrangle and calm an immense seahorse, large enough for a person to ride upon. Will's quick eye determines that the fae are having difficulty taming the creature, and, if helped, could owe him a favour.
Well, what's all this then? What's all this mucking about?
So, the Fae are more inclined to just outright ignore your current presence, as their attention is exclusively on the seahorse, who is pretty much giving the underwater equivalent of bucking around. You see one of the Fae get swiftly smacked directly in the head by the tail of the seahorse, and a small gush of silvery green blood just billows from the Fae's head.
I'm going to cast Animal Friendship on the seahorse from my staff.
Alright.
Into chat.
Animal Friendship. This spell lets you convince a beast that you'll mean it no harm. Choose a beast you can see within range. It must see or hear you. If the beast's intelligence is 4 or higher, the spell will fail. Let me just double check. I probably should have gotten up the giant seahorse stat block before we started, huh? Do. Oh, there it is. Alright, giant seahorse has an intelligence of 2. Okay. So, flavor it up for me. What happens with your spell here?
I have my staff. I walk up. I brush all the Fae away from it, trying to get it off the seahorse. I slam it on the ground, and actually no, I don't slam it on the ground. I just wave because the leafy end of my staff in the face of the seahorse. Maybe give it a couple taps on the nose, calm it down, and then reach out with my hand. Maybe I pull it out of my bag, some kind of feed, and give it to the seahorse.
Yep.
Just to show it I mean no harm.
Alrighty. So, with Animal Friendship, you're going to be guaranteed that you can functionally befriend it, shockingly. So, as you do so, you pretty much begin to ignore the various Fae who are currently around you, who are taking a step back as you begin to do what they are incapable of doing. It takes a few minutes of further ministration as it seems that the seahorse has been very thoroughly worked up and enraged, but by the end of that, you now have a fairly quiet seahorse stallion who is kind of staring at you as if he'd never seen anything quite like you.
Stroke its face, its muzzle, and I'm gonna cast Speak of Animals. You're right there, lads. You're right.
All right.
These fuckheads are messing with you.
All right. Speak with animals. You gain the ability to comprehend and verbally communicate with beasts for the duration. I'm fairly sure that it extends to underwater things, unless there's a really stupid division. Large beasts. Yep, we're good. All right. So the stream of information that you begin to get from the seahorse, it basically begins to agree with you in that it seems that it is incredibly upset due to it having been attempted to be tamed and ridden, when the seahorse itself would like to confirm that he is definitely a very powerful seahorse and does not need to deal with the indignified behavior of being ridden by one of these Fae.
You are quite right, mate. Quite right. Look, I'll let them know I'll tell them to fuck off, and I'll let you go about your day and have them out with your business, mate. Don't even worry about it.
All right.
I'll just probably turn to the Fae creatures and be like, "Oi, fuck off, get out of it. All right? It doesn't want to be ridden."
Alright, so the incredibly offended look that you receive from the majority of the Fae Keepers is probably worth it enough for you to just continue on and mind whatever you're doing. However, as everybody begins to shuffle off, you are very quickly approached by someone who is looking a little bit more official than the rest of them. It seems that the head of the animal taming unit is a little bit more polite than his various comrades, and as a result he seems a little bit more willing to try and bring up a conversation with you. Specifically, he begins to ask you as to your particular skills and abilities to tame wild creatures, as he has never seen anybody manage to tame and handle a stallion seahorse with quite that level of expertise in quite so short a time.
Right, mate. I grew up on the streets, nothing but a rat as a mate. Got to know the animals quite well. Just got a knack for them, you know? But just natural. Nothing that can be taught.
Surely you must know your ancestors. You don't quite meet people who are capable of dealing with creatures this well without having either a noble ancestry or a blessing by one of the nature gods.
Nah, mate, got no clue. All I know is the streets and his damn rat. And Chuck E. Cheese is on my shoulder.
Well, maybe you have some Fey heritage indeed, but regardless, your expertise is heads and shoulder over that of my own men. If by any chance might I infringe upon you to return here tomorrow? I believe I might have a task that you may be able to help with me with, and it is always wonderful to have somebody here that I can rely upon and not need to instruct.
Sure, mate. What am I getting out of it?
He gives a bit of a bow. I cannot think of any reward at the moment, but if you leave it with me, then I will do my best to see you suitably compensated for your time.
No worries, mate. If I'm here, I'll swing by.
Excellent. All right, and so, how do you spend the rest of your day until Norloth casts the spell?
I don't know. Maybe just continuing out the back. Maybe go if they have like some kind of ranch. I don't know. Just walking around, getting some fresh air, if you can call it that, even though we're underwater.
Getting some fresh water.
So getting some fresh water. Yeah, probably just strolling. Nothing much on my mind.
Alrighty, so just taking it easy for the most part until such time as Norloth is able to enchant you. Excellent. Alrighty, let us move on to number 3, Solturum. Alright, so Luke. During one of the breaks of the day court of the Storm Hag, Solturum's attention is attracted by a harassed-looking fae carrying various magical reagents that, if stored together incorrectly, is liable to result in a fairly large explosion, likely to wipe out the palace. Being a good person, he follows this fae and comes across the scene of several fae attempting to stabilize and protect the powerful wards which protect the demiplane, which appears to be coming under attack from an outside force. If Solturum is able to help, he might be able to get a glimpse of the protective spells and wards which guards this palace as well as its valuables.
Have they observed that I'm there?
So, upon you following in the person carrying the magical reagents, you are immediately approached by one of the lesser mages, who simply stops you before he very bossily says, "Guests of the Queen are not welcome in this area. Please leave."
Oh, good sir. Perhaps I can be of assistance. It seems that you're under significant pressure at the moment.
So he gives a bit of a sniff before he just looks you disdainfully up and down. And exactly what do you think a mortal like yourself might be able to contribute to the magical arts of we, the immortal Fae?
Well, I'm surprised that someone with the wisdom of the immortal Fae is asking a question without providing any of the information necessary for me to consider an answer first.
The Fae in question...
Something I'd expect from a mortal peasant.
So the Fae in question just looks at you, probably a little bit astounded at the sheer backtalk that you just said, before your attention is drawn by a fairly loud laugh which echoes from the corner of the room. A elderly and venerable looking Fae woman strolls over before she just abruptly dismisses the younger mage. Don't mind him. He seems to believe that we are all-powerful here, when it is quite obvious that there are mortals who are capable of standing toe-to-toe with even some of our greatest kings and queens. I apologize for your entrance. How may we help you?
There's no need for an apology. I observe that you are having some difficulty repelling the force which is attacking you at the moment, and as a guest of the majestic storm hag, I thought it would only be right as a guest in this home to offer my assistance if I could.
Of course. Well, the particular problem that we're encountering is that we're dealing with an incredibly powerful force which is coming from outside the demiplane, so within the Feywilds or potentially even outside them as well. Our particular problem, however, is that we at the moment do not have enough trained spellcasters to handle a attack of this particular magnitude. We may be able to get around it if we have a sufficient infusion of power, but I suppose a accurate or more delicate pinpointed use of the magical arts and theory might also succeed just as well. If you are sufficiently powerful, then we would welcome any help that you may be able to lend to us.
Can I do an Arcana check to see if I can reach my senses out to see whether I can work out what this is?
Yeah, sure. As in to determine what the threat might be.
Yeah.
Alright, so with a 25, it takes you a quick moment before you are abruptly interrupted by the mage in question, who simply holds up her hands and interrupts your concentration with a "wait." With that, she gestures over to one of the various monitoring devices and abruptly tells the Fey person sitting there to simply get out. Now, when he does, you are invited to sit down at the monitoring device, and with that you are able to abruptly feel your senses expand enough that you are fairly certain that you could probably peer into other planes just using this particular device if you were so inclined. However, with this in mind, you begin to assess the threat coming towards you, and you are able to identify it as being of an eldritch origin. It appears to be a source or force which seems to be alien to the very universes themselves. Now, it does so happen that you do have the knowledge about how best to dissuade these particular forces from attacking or at least getting onto the planes itself, so if you are inclined, then you may be able to provide that help to the mages at the current time. Alternatively, you do also suppose that you contain enough power that you will be able to bolster the wards here enough that they will deter the invasion itself. So it would require, by your estimation, 15 levels of spell slots to stave off the invasion.
This is a truly impressive machine. I must say I'm very rarely astounded as I am, but using this, what I feared might be the case is in fact happening. This is a very, very dangerous situation. There is presently an eldritch horror trying to break its way into this plane, but I think I might be able to provide the assistance you need to strengthen your wards and repel the attack. Are you accepting of my offer?
At the current time, we would be... You can see the facial expression on the mage's face just completely change to one of mild distaste before she almost regrettably lets out, "I would be within your debt if you would be capable of helping us turn this back. It is... Unfortunately, many of our forces are dedicated to the Feywilds, and we otherwise may look at having to request help of the Storm Hag herself, and it is unlikely any of us would survive if we drew her ire."
We don't want to disturb the Storm Hag. So we have a deal. I think that what we need is I need a sufficient number of your mages to assist me in strengthening the walls. To do that, I don't know quite how to explain the concept of 15 levels of spell slots, but certainly
Yep.
I explained that in some sort of thaumatological way, which sounds immensely impressive and intelligent, which she understands.
Yep, no worries. Alright, So, it appears that the mages that are currently in the room are doing their best in order to provide the direct amount of power, but it looks like they do not have enough to make up those 15 level spell slots. Unfortunately, it would have to come from your personal.
How much power does that require from me?
So just 15 levels worth of spell slots. So, 3 level 5s, 5 level 3s, so on.
Oh, okay. Alright. So, I'll spend the 7th, a 6th, and a 2nd level spell slot.
Yep, no worries.
Okay.
Alright, is there a particular flavour you'd like to provide to that process?
Well, I want them to gather around me in a semicircle around the machine and facing the area where we feel the attack most intensely. I reach out and ask them to join hands. And then I start focusing my will, my innate magic, and drawing through each of the mages the power I need to start weaving stronger wards, patching the widening fractures, the morphological fractures I can see in the wards that the Eldritch Horror has created, and starting to fuse them with the raw power that I'm gathering through the Fey Magicians and myself until the metaphysical warding surrounding this part of the plane flare and metaphorically form into a stone barrier that shuts like a gate on the Eldritch Horror, and I sense as that comes down a psychic cry of rage and frustration, but one which dissipates and slowly disappears.
Perfect. Alright, so the process that you have described continues to go on, and some of the Fey mages, unfortunately, are a little bit too weakened in order to, and eventually, once they are drained of their power, do fall unconscious. However, you are able to maintain this magical protection, and with the final push of the Eldritch Abomination out of the plane, you feel a sudden sense of relief, a lack of pressure that you hadn't really noticed up to this point from the center of your brain. It feels like something that had previously been there worrying at you has now disappeared. There is abruptly a sigh of relief from the mage who had requested your help, and she gives a bit of a smile towards you. It has been some time since we've had to repel a singular attack of that particular magnitude. I cannot thank you enough, mortal, but I will see if there is something that I might be able to arrange. We do obviously have quite a number of magical reagents here, but being in the Feywilds, I would assume that you might prefer something that would be a bit more unusual to you of the mortal realms. I can possibly arrange a magical item for you, but if you bear with me, I might be able to arrange to have a spell from my personal spell book sent to you on the morn.
That would be, I'd be most grateful for that. But are you saying that this is not the first time the realm has suffered an attack from an agent of such power? That is very surprising.
So the mage in question just gives a bit of a shrug to her shoulders, almost nonchalantly. It is a consequence of being I suppose, servant of a Fey queen. They themselves begin to approach godlike powers, and as a result, they draw the attention of those who seek to subsume it and consume it. We have dealt with these things. Sorry?
Most impressive that you've been able to hold those off before, because that is a very, very difficult task. But I thank you for your offer, and I'm more than happy to discuss that further with you tomorrow. I think, though, in the interim, I might just go and have a brief rest.
So she gives a bow and then immediately snaps her fingers. One of the servants around rushes up. Servant, you are to see to this mage's needs, ensure that he is comfortable and that he receives nourishing food to ensure that his magical powers are replenished as quickly as possible. So with that, the servant just rushes off and begins to get that prepared. You do spend the rest of the day being pampered, but I assume actively avoiding the food until Norloth is capable of casting the spell.
Yes, I'm not particularly hungry.
Yep, no worries. Okay, nice work. You guys are actually doing really well with these challenges so far. All right. Who is up next? Ooh, we have Tinkerette.
Hello.
Are you ready, Rob?
Yes.
Everyone take a seat.
All right. So,
Yeah, I'm getting the popcorn out.
all right, so Tinkerette. The Changeling appears to have all of Tinkerette's abilities, but not necessarily his skills. A chance encounter with the Changeling at the day court of the Storm Hag gives Tinkerette an opening to begin whittling down his opponent when the two accidentally impact into one another, with both being knocked down.
What?
Rob, can I please get a quick sleight of hand check from you?
I didn't get a chance to do it, but Will was going to cast a spell on me.
Oh, okay.
The Cat's Grace to give me advantage.
Yep. How does that look, Will?
How do we do that?
Maybe in the time I was strolling around, how much time has passed?
Indeterminate. Doesn't matter for this one. So it could be before the break. Kind of up to you guys.
Let's say you hadn't run into him yet, and whilst I was strolling the halls, we also bumped into each other, and we had a quick whispered conversation.
Yes, we did. And in fact, we did a quick whispered conversation. Yeah. We passed each other notes.
Yeah. And oh no, I was going to put the thing in the actual chat. Here, just under Cat's Grace.
All right, Cat's Grace. So, enhance ability. Target has advantage on dexterity checks. It also doesn't take damage from falling 20 feet or less if it isn't incapacitated. Okay, easy enough.
Yeah.
So, flash forward to being knocked down. Hit me up with a sleight of hand. 24, very nice.
Advantage.
23, still not as good, but 24, either way.
Can't complain.
All right, so, Tinkerette. The reason that were you the one to subtly bump into your changeling, or do you think he was the one who bumped into you?
Well, I had a plan to plant something of mine on his.
Yep.
On him, and then to accuse him in front of the hag.
Okay, fair enough.
Breaking the peace.
What of yours would you like to plant on him?
One of my gems, which I had been flashing around, sharing to people. Look at my wonderful gems. Look how wonderful I have all these gems. And I count them out very carefully. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 gems of this kind. And then, aren't they beautiful? Aren't they beautiful? And then I plant one on him.
Excellent. All right. Well, during this brief interaction, you will have to make a split-second decision, as with the particular proximity, you begin to recognize certain things that the changeling is actually wearing. You, in particular, recognize a ring that has previously belonged to Solturum, as well as a cloak that the changeling is wearing that you identify as being your own mantle of spell resistance, which went missing only yesterday.
Son of a bitch. I use that. That cloak looks very familiar to try and put him off as I'm trying to plant the gem upon him.
All right. So he looks at you, complete and utter loathing in his eyes. Of course it would look familiar to you. It did belong once to you, but...
Bravo. well done, old bean. Very tricksy of you.
He stops for a moment as if unsure exactly how to proceed before he grins. Well, it's nice to see that one such as yours is able to worship at my feet.
Oh, I wasn't worshipping. I was merely congratulating.
He begins to get up and dusts himself down, just giving you another quick look before he disappears back into the crowd around the Storm Hag.
Okay.
All right.
I say, dear boy, that you just took?
The crowd very abruptly hushes around the two of you, and it parts, with the changeling stopping before he turns around and looks at you. Took what?
Hold still! Lady Hag, this man has broken the peace.
So, the crowd continues to part until there is a very clear line between the Throne of the Storm Hag and the Changeling and yourself. The Storm Hag looks decisively amused by what's going on here, but she assumes a very serious look upon her face before she inclines her head. You would like to report a disturbance, mortal halfling?
I noticed one of my gems is missing, and this... Well, he thinks himself quite clever. This pretend thief bumped into me by accident a moment ago, and now I checked my pockets and one of them is missing. I would ask that his person be searched.
These are very serious accusations to be levelled at the court bard. Are you perhaps, if we are inclined to find these gems, are you inclined to answer under a zone of truth that he was the one who took them?
I can tell you that I have them no longer. I do not know that he took them. I merely know that I no longer have them. And a moment ago, all saw me with them. I was sharing them.
All right. What is your passive insight? 12 at the moment. All right. Sorry?
Sorry, I spoke German. Sorry, 12, yes, 12.
Yep. All right. As you glance at the Storm Hag, you can see a look in her eyes. And you come to the immediate understanding that she is well aware that you're very carefully selecting your words in what you're saying here. However, she gives a bit of another grin, and you get a feeling of trepidation that she might actually try and see how far she can push this with you. Well, these are very, very serious allegations, of course. She just snaps her fingers, and immediately two guards rush up. Please, guards, ensure that my precious bard is... Just a sec, guys. Where is he? That Durya is searched, and if these gems are found, then I believe that we have enough to erect a zone of truth in order to get to the bottom of exactly where these gems came from. Sure enough, after Durya the Changeling is searched, your gems are brought up, and with that, you can see that the Storm Hag's mouth just breaks into an immense, mostly gum-filled grin.
I'm very disappointed in him.
It seems that there has been an accusation, so let us enter into our court. And she just waves her hand. A tremor of magic begins to fill up the court, and you begin to recognize various signs of runes which dictate truth and accountability, beginning to appear in a magical circle under both you and the bard. So, Master Bard, you're here and you have been accused. Did you or did you not steal these gems? The Storm Hag asks. The answer was a very confounded, no, I did not. Alright, so, Master Pipe Drone, you have heard that he alleges under a truth spell that he did not take them. When did you last see them?
I last saw them in his hand, well, in the hand of the guards. Taken from his very pocket.
And prior to having them taken from his pocket?
When I looked at them in my hands.
And what were they doing in your hands?
They were being shown.
She stops for a moment and she begins to drum her fingers along the side of her chair. So, we have a case here where you did not see them and where he confirms under a truth spell that he did not take them. Master Pipe Drone, how do you suppose that the gems entered into his possession?
I believe that he stole them. That's why I am accusing him of such a thing. He bumped into me. I did not bump into him.
And Master Dahlia, how do you suppose that these gems came into your possession? So the answer is simply a sullen, I don't know, I've not been anywhere near them, and I've never touched the filthy things. Alright, so, Rob, hit me up with a persuasion check. That is a 15. Okay. Now, Rob, you're going to have a fun moment here. You're going to be rolling against Tinkerette's full force of persuasion.
His persuasion or his... Okay, yeah, fair enough. Whatever.
Yep. Let's see if Tinkerette at level 15 can outtalk a Tinkerette at level 3. All right. 32 versus a 15.
Hey, I think minimum would have beat him.
All right. So, the particular court case, inverted commas there, continues on for roughly about half an hour before you can see that the Storm Hag seems to actively get bored of it. In the end, unfortunately, it does come down to it that it seems that the story of the Changeling is just a hair more believable than yours, as your particular comments seem to run out with you having last seen them in your hand. No particular discovery is made, and with that, eventually the Storm Hag just waves her hand. I guess I would simply put that down to one of the eccentricities of the plane, a wild magic surge, as I believe you mortals call them, but I believe that if you were to try this particular line of thought once more, Master Pipe Drone, I would recommend perhaps being a little bit more subtle about things.
Subtle about what?
So,
I have accused the man of thievery. An item is found upon himself, and then what happens is that it's found in his favour. This is unconscionable, disgraceful, and certainly not the sort of hospitality to which I would have expected coming from someone as magnificent as yourself.
There is a sudden intake of breath from among the crowd as your words begin to hit home, and you very quickly watch that the Storm Hag's facial expression, previously somewhat cheerful, a bit of a mischievous old lady look, abruptly changes to one of complete and utter abject fury. With that, the room itself seems to grow a little bit colder, and you can see that the various drinks and liquids around the room begin to tremble as her fury overtakes her physical form, and you can see that she begins to lose track of her physical form as well, as it begins to mutate into an almost amorphous form which continues to move. She stands up, her form taking her about 5 or 10 feet above the height of that of her throne, as she towers above you. Do not think to try and lecture me on the rules of hospitality, Master Pipe Drone. You yourself have brought this into my court, and we are both very aware that this was simply a failed ploy on your behalf. Do not tempt me and force me to show my hand and throw you out of my demiplane. I can assure you there are many forces outside of my demiplane who would be quite happy to take up your form and do with it what they will. Torture for 1,000,000 years, perhaps? That will only be the nicest of the creatures and what they will do to you.
I understand that your power is much greater than mine. I've never denied that, nor would I ever. But the greatest act of thievery that has ever been is someone stealing someone else's very being. And no one can deny that this man, this creature, this thing before me has stolen from me.
So, the Storm Hag simply looks down at you. This did not occur within my realm, and as such, it is not something that I can arbiter over. If you would seek to directly assume his form or seek it back, then you may appeal to the regent, the Lord of Durya, but in the absence of the Autumn King, then I am his ruling lord. Until you can prove that his form and these powers were taken from you within my realm, then I will not hesitate to see you evicted from this court until such time as you have learnt manners befitting one of a royal stature.
Why does that make a difference where it is stolen from? If you admit that it has been stolen and you admit that you have power and the regency power of the Autumn Lord, why does it matter where it was stolen from?
So she raises an...
I ask this to gain further understanding, not to challenge you.
She raises an eyebrow and she begins to settle down into her throne. If you are quite that unknowledgeable about our rules and customs, then I will have delivered to your quarters a book detailing exactly what the Fae can do and how it is that we perceive the laws and customs of you mortals. We are creatures who only maintain control of our very selves by maintaining control of our realms and our promises. You have taken... your form was taken from a mortal realm. As such, while it is in my realm, it cannot be undone until such time as you can prove that you have done a wrongdoing within my realm.
I can prove that. We were already in the Feywild when my powers were taken.
The Feywild is not my realm. This demiplane is my realm. The Feywild belongs to all Fey.
Fair enough. Okay, maybe I'll try intimidation because fuck it, I'm really quite tired. I'm trying to intimidate fucktard.
Durya, changeling.
Puck, whatever his name is.
Puck isn't here.
No, the guy. Sorry, the bard who's there.
Yep, Durya the changeling.
I dare him to challenge me.
Okay. Yep, hit me up with intimidation. Did that roll twice for anybody else but only show once?
I think it did it automatically because I rolled a 1.
Huh. Weird. Yeah, it's never done that one before. Alright. 18. Give me a quick sec. Where is the roller? Nope, you're going to be a jerk. Alright. Stop rolling. Sorry, it's rolling now on roll 20 on D&D Beyond, but not in roll 20. There it goes. All right. So at the current time, Durya is feeling quite superior. Sorry. At the current time, Durya is feeling quite superior. He's kind of, as far as he's aware, gotten away with it in the with what's going on before the eyes of the Storm Hag, as well as the court itself. So a lot of what you're saying is pretty much going to roll off of his back. Did you want to flavor up your intimidation attempt, or you're fine?
Sorry, I had to step away for a moment. Say goodnight to a child.
No, it's all good.
Right then. So I missed that bit. So
all right.
What's happened? Because you rolled a 7 and then a 21, so I'm confused.
Yep. So he rolled advantage because he's feeling quite confident that he's getting away with things right now. So I got him to roll at advantage. So he's feeling quite confident, having in his eyes gotten away with everything. It's a near thing, but it looks like you're unfortunately able to shake the calm that he has.
Use one of my 20s.
You use one of your 20s to match his?
Yes.
Okay, give me a sec. Where do I store the 20s? Why do I not have this memorized by now?
I've got 4.
Yep, there we go. 3. Oh, right. That wasn't a 3. I typed in 3 using the numpad, and then it put in an I, and now it's put in a P. What the heck? Okay, yep, not going to question it. All right, so with a nat 20 versus a nat 20, crap, how am I going to function with that one? Any advice, boys? What do you think?
Scissors, paper, rock.
He's got a +1 and I've got a +5. Just put it out there.
That's true. Could be based on on just like how initiative works, whatever the mod is.
Yeah, but they're both just nat 20s, so...
All right. The Storm Queen... Sorry, your attempts to intimidate him don't seem to take any particular effect on him directly. However, after some time, eventually the Storm Queen just snaps, her voice cutting across the babble of the crowd. Master Pipe Drone, your behavior is quite unbecoming, but I can see that you are not going to be dissuaded from this particular course of action. In order to save the chastity and silence of my court, then if you would desire to battle my bard, then you may do so. However, it will be at the time of our choosing. In 2 days' time, we are having a games to commemorate my ascension to this throne. At that time, you may take him on in single combat to determine who will be the rightful claimant to your appearance as well as your skills.
So my powers versus his powers.
That is
my powers. Is that what you're saying?
That is correct.
All my powers that I still maintain.
Correct.
Despite what he has stolen.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you admit him thieving my powers. But yes.
Even it out at 7.
Sorry?
Even the power's out at 7.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree to that.
Very well. Then let it be known to all within my realm that there will be a single combat which will dictate the closing of the games in 2 days' time.
Combat or all my powers?
Hmm?
A single combat or all my powers?
As DM, I'm confused. What?
Well, my powers include things like summoning.
Okay, so as in, what she's determining is that it will be a battle between just the two of you. If it does include summoning, then that will be against those rules, yes.
Okay.
So, mano a mano.
Okay.
Alright?
And he summoned a Norse army.
It's alright, we'll just buff you to shit.
You know what's surprising? I did actually take into account this might happen, and I've already prepared stuff for it.
Of course you have.
Alrighty.
And I'm tired of being level 3.
Don't worry.
I'll fucking die. I've had it.
Don't worry, I'm with you there. Alright. So, with that particular challenge going out and everybody across the party being made well aware of it, let's move on to Rithgar's challenge for day 1. Alright, so, Rithgar. The changeling contains all of Tinkerette's power, and the group is not allowed to attack him under fear of reprisal from the Storm Hag. However, this has not disallowed weakening the changeling and his gear to make it easy to take him on in the combat that Tinkerette will find himself in. All that kind of needs to be done is to find out where he dwells, and as the investigator of the party, I dare say that's probably right up your alley.
Absolutely.
All right.
Feels like it's just going to be fun. I love demon hunting.
All right. What would you like to roll in order to locate where he is?
Well, I don't want to be found, so I'd like to do stealth,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'd like to do investigation.
Perfect.
I think these are rolling.
Yep. So stealth is an unnatural 20, followed by a 27 for investigation. Perfect. All right, so locating the changeling was almost child's play, as he has not taken any measures to step lightly around the party. When he is finally dismissed from his duties as entertainer for the Storm Hag, you're able to silently track him back to his rooms in the servant wing at the palace. It doesn't take too much for you to also memorize the exact route from there and between there and your own rooms at the current time. All right. So, you are able to do this and get back to the rooms just in time for Norloth to place the spell on you and for the rest of you to continue at the feast under, I suppose, Norloth's persuasions that, yes, you will be able to eat this without negative consequences. So, did you guys want to roleplay that?
So, I take it, I'm back now and I've been filled in on what's happened.
Yeah.
Did anyone notice any sort of stable of, fearsome aquatic beasts or any sort of fearsome beasts lurking around outside? Because I could just polymorph a little bugger and go out and feed into one of the beasts. He's rather irritating.
Unless the beasts have, teeth of cold iron, can't do much about that.
Yeah, stomach acid will get him eventually. There's not much you can do if he wakes up in the middle of a shark's belly.
That's true. I don't know. I'm going to enjoy seeing Tinkerette struggle to fight Tinkerette.
Alright, well let me know when I have to haste him.
I think we need to do something to the changeling in advance. Like,
If you want to have a spell storing with like level 1 shields in it. Done.
Guys?
what about...
Hang on, you go.
No, I was just wondering, like, the ring of... With that ring, could you cast a spell in it and then have it trigger remotely? For instance. Like have a fireball. I know it's supposed to... If we planted it on him.
It's more of just Tinkerette can use the spell. So I put the spell into the ring and then Tinkerette can use it.
Tinkerette, do we have any more of those exploding spellbooks left?
Oh, God.
Did I put any in the library, Sam?
You guys aren't going to let me forget those, are you?
I don't think we used them all. I'm sure we had like a couple left.
I thought there was at least 2 left.
Yeah, that's what I thought. We took 4, we used 2 on that giant robot construct. And I thought we had 2 left. Because I could, if we have one, I could go out and talk about this wonderful book I've got and how great a value it is and go over and then...
Yes, and I could give you a bardic inspiration to try and convince him.
Yeah, and then let him try and pilfer it from me.
Before we go into the fact of whether we not have one, hate to be a one-trick pony, but I could get another planet ally, guys, and we'll pay him to rig the fight.
Fuck yeah.
I like that plan. And we get to keep exploded spellbooks for later.
Yeah. When else am I going to use this goddamn necklace, huh? So another planet ally, we'll get some kind of celestial fae or of some sort. We pay it, like, hey, rig the fight, and then you win.
Yes, that would be good. That's why I was careful about saying using all my powers. Some of my powers is
Right. Not your powers.
I said, what am I powers? Friendship.
My little Tinkerette, my little Tinkerette.
There you go.
The Bronny in the group is finally uncovered.
No, I just have... Oh, God, how many do I have now? 7 nieces.
All of them have teeth.
Yes?
What?
Didn't one of them not have teeth, or?
Oh, yeah. She had the dental surgery. Sorry, that's the 4-year-old. Got it. I was so confused then. Oh, wait, no. So it's technically 2 of them might not have teeth right now.
Little.
Little.
Right.
I also have a spell called Enemies Abound, which just sounds like a lot of fun. It's I'll put it in the thing, but it just makes them think that everyone is their enemy.
That's a cool spell.
Put it in the ring. I don't. If I had.
Not in the ring, but like as he's going into the ring, he burns a whole heap of spell slots trying just killing other Fae around him.
Yes. So if we're planning a fight now, is that what we're doing?
Yeah, Operation
Okay.
Don. It's called Operation Don King.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean the bagpipes. I can go invisible up the start. I can get protection from evil as well on myself. Well, as the I can hex him for like hours before, so just basically he can't even tell. But I should be hidden for as long as possible, so he can't do anything like hex me or anything before. So I don't know.
All right. Well, before you guys get too much into the planning, let's move on with the challenges because, again, shockingly, I did actually preempt this. Wow, I'm really on brand today. Go me. I mean, I completely didn't expect the scene with Tinkerette, but, you know, I can work with it.
Which bit?
All right. So...
You screaming at a demigod.
I didn't scream.
Just intimidated, threatened.
Attempted.
No, that wasn't the queen I'd intimidated.
That's true.
I'm insane, but not stupid.
Now, you yelled at the person in charge of this planar demi-plane.
I don't think I yelled at them, but anyway, okay.
You did raise your voice at the very least.
I did.
Kind of how it sounded on Discord.
I was very intimidated. I'm going to cry later. Alrighty then. So, you guys, Norloth casts this spell upon you after you've had some quick discussions about what's been going on and how you might be able to handle the changeling and their powers at the games themselves. Now, it's not too long before you are summoned by one of the Fae servants in order to attend to the feast that you have been invited to, and upon being led into the hall, you can see that an extravagant feast, even by what you assume the Fae's standards, has been laid out before you. Now, it looks like a lot of this does seem to be primarily seafood related, so you do have quite a lot of fish dishes for one, but it does look like there are some unusual Fae looking things here, such as exotic fruits, as well as a drink which looks like almost liquid silver in the way it flows and moves. Regardless, as you sit down and begin to eat your fill, Norloth, you get the sensation that you're currently being watched, and when you look up you can see that the Storm Hag seems to be very curiously investigating the group as if expecting something.
Can I cast Detect Magic?
Yes, you may.
Cool. Is there anything wrong with our food or anything out of the ordinary?
Nothing out of the ordinary with your group. You can't detect anything that's wrong with the food. The only spell active on your particular groups are the one that you expect for them to be active.
And what about the Hag Queen? Can I sense anything different about her?
Alright. You did turn your magical senses towards her and begin almost physically flinch as you get the magical equivalent of being oversaturated. It seems that she, not only in addition to her role as queen, she just seems to overly be almost entirely made out of magic at this particular point. You wouldn't know where to begin to try and sense if there was something, a spell or anything currently cast on her.
Okay. She's up to something, guys. Just be wary.
Can I do my ranger thing to detect if there's anything? Basically, just my daily demon check.
Yep. you are able to sense shockingly many Fae around you. At the barest edges of your awareness, you can detect a very minor sense of an aberration, but it feels like they are moving away from where you are.
Can I go after them?
Rithgar's gonna be right back, guys.
Like Rithgar doesn't know what a demon is. He just goes around looking for anything he thinks might be a demon. Yeah, that's a demon.
Who's doing what in the microphone? Because it sounds like farting.
Okay.
I think it's Rob.
No, it's not me.
Oh, I'm sitting on,
Oh, it's Luke.
on the veranda, so it's probably the wind on me.
Nah, that's all good. Just sound like plastic creaking on plastic, that's all. Alright, so you guys continue to enjoy the feast, and afterwards you retire to your chambers, sated, but I suppose having finally discovered exactly what people mean when they talk about the luxurious feasts at the tables of the Fae Queens. Alrighty. Day 2. Solterum is sleeping. God. Wow, I completely missed you guys talking in the Discord about that one. Alright, day 2. Let's begin with Solterum. So, Luke, this is something I've kind of anticipated that you would be interested in, but it will also be likely a day-long effort. So just give me a heads up if you're not necessarily comfortable with that or you think Solterum wouldn't do it. So, during day 2. With the newfound knowledge of the ward, Solterum does what any burgeoning scholar would do when bored to death of a being in a demi-plane surrounded by Fae creatures under the guidance of an all-powerful godlike being. Go to the library. A sneaky sneak over, and Solterum is able to crack through their intensive wards and enter into the library of the Fae Queen. The treasure trove of knowledge is tempting, but Solterum's attention is caught by an immense map detailing the Fae Wilds. A check around reveals that several tomes detailing the Fae Wilds lingers around. Maybe one of them might contain details about what the surroundings of Thogcha might be like.
I'm well into doing this, particularly now I've got past the wall. I'm still a bit twitchy about that after the last campaign. Yeah, I'll do that as long as I have enough time to get back and help everyone fix the fight.
Yep, no worries. Alright, so for this one, I will admit I had to completely try and recall what your stats were, so apparently my recommendations here are either investigation, or perception, or insight. But
Perception, I think.
perception? Alright, hit me up.
What was it? It was
Investigation, perception, or insight.
they're all crap for me.
I tried and remembered. It wasn't on D&D Beyond.
Alright. Let's give the dice.
Oof, a 3. Alrighty then.
Hey, Luke, there's a new sorcerer feature where you can burn a sorcery point to reroll.
Hey, well, hold a second. Let me just check my feats.
Adds in feet. I can do what I want. Shut up, Sam.
I am lucky.
He was mumbling about lucky not long ago.
Yeah, he was.
No, I didn't choose it in the end. I chose transmuted spell, so I don't think I have anything that helps me.
Nope, it's all good then.
There's also a thing called what's it called?
It'll be in like the Tasha's cauldron or everything.
Yeah,
Sorry, what?
I think you have
it's called guidance. Something guidance.
Yeah, and I've got careful spell, seeking spell.
If you could go to edit your character, you might see an optional feature manager. Just
Manage feats. And do what? Cheat.
No. Optional feature manager. It's like where you next to all your class features, and you can add it.
Where is it? Sorry.
So if you go to edit your character and you go to the class section, the class tab. So you actually have to go back into like the where you level up and stuff.
Yeah.
What is it? Is this?
And then it's the
Optional feature manager.
Alright, magical guidance. You can tap into your inner wellspring of magic to try and conjure success from failure. When you make an ability check that fails, you can spend 1 sorcery point to reroll the d20, and you must use the new roll, potentially turning the failure into a success.
I'm still trying to optional features. Customize your class features, is that it?
I believe so. Somewhere around there.
And then where do I go?
And then, yeah, class features. Hang on, I'll take a screen cap of my screen, show you where it is.
It's happening.
We can, but will it happen?
I doubt that.
It's in the Discord. So
Yeah.
in the character builder, class.
Edit characters.
Oh, yes. And what do I add?
And then just tick all the boxes.
Yep, here it is. Additional sorcerer spells, meta magic options, sorceress versatility, and magical guidance. Yeah, nifty.
Great. Done.
And you've got extra spells now too, that if you want to relearn, you can learn.
Okay, I will be doing that. So what do I do now? Reroll.
Expending 1 sorcerer spell point to reroll. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that could have been badly. Oh no, I just nearly closed the entire internet browser I have with all of your characters up.
Alright, let's go. Let's spin the wheel one more time. What? Yes.
A 19. Alright. Now, is that enough to beat? You will be happy to know that the DC I set was exactly 19. Alright. So, the tomes that Solturum look...
Can I just say, holy fuck.
So, the tomes that Solturum locates are very thorough, but ultimately unable to provide any information about what might surround Thogcha. A chance look over at a different shelf, however, allows Solturum to fill in the blanks and determine where Thogcha would be if it were to suddenly be added to the known Feywilds. So, as a result of a successful roll, this means that you are now going to have extra knowledge and information about what to expect when you guys presumably do actually leave the city itself in the next session or so. Alright, so, Luke, flavor it up for me. How was your day spent otherwise?
Well, all magical research, it's a bit of a grind, filled with moments of elation, which quickly sour into frustration, which move on to hair pulling. And just when you're about to set fire to the world, you see out of the corner of your eye a book you'd missed on your scans before, which opens up the locked doors that your research had been able to open during the day. And I've learned how to extricate ourselves from Thogcha when we get back there, potentially. Is that right?
That's right. Well, at least you will be able to locate where you guys are in the Feywilds and make use of that that knowledge magically.
Great.
Alrighty. So, the rest of your day continues as, again, most of it is spent with you researching and pretty much making use of the library itself. You eventually are able to sneak your way out of the library and back to the shared suite that you guys are currently sharing in the palace. All right, let's move on to everyone else and see whether you might pop up with that. Now, Rithgar and Norloth. Ooh. So, after scouting through the palace yesterday, Norloth was pleasantly surprised to hear that Rithgar had located where the changeling happens to be sleeping. After consulting with the demonic investigator, Norloth came to hear of his idea to locate and sabotage the changeling's equipment. Between the two of them, they should be able to cause some mischief for the changeling if he also comes looking for trouble. So, for the two of you, I'm basically assuming that the two of you might be working together to get into his chambers while Tinkerette is presumably under the eye of the storm hag herself. So between the two of you, you should be able to get into the chamber and also get in there and sabotage a few things. So when is that fine with you guys, or would you prefer a different path?
Sounds alright.
My ranger things, my ranger senses aren't picking up that otherworldly presence anymore.
They are not.
That sounds like an awesome plan. I would like to do that too.
Yep, no worries. Alright, so Rithgar, you are able to escort yourself and Norloth over to where the changeling's personal chambers are at the moment. Norloth, it doesn't take long, but you are able to detect that the changeling appears to have erected personal wards over the boundaries of his chambers. You can likely either find a key to unlock them magically, otherwise you can overwhelm them using 10 levels of spell slots. Your call.
Can I use the detect magic and just avoid them?
So it's pretty much forming a box around them. You won't really necessarily be able to avoid them. They are, again, warding, protective warding.
Okay, well, I guess I'll just do like 2 level 4 slots and a level 2.
Yep. All right. So when it comes to magic, the way I tend to flavor it is that if you're overwhelming a ward, you're functionally just shoving enough magic into it to actually make it explode. So flavor it up for me. What would you like to do?
Can I do it without an explosion? Because I kind of want to be subtle about this.
Yep. All right. How would you take care of the excess magical energy then?
I
Eat it. Suck it up.
Yeah, I guess I just absorb it into the shadows and just cast it out.
Yep. Magical flatulence. All right. So yeah, flavor it up for me. What's it all look like?
I just put out my hand, just slowly absorbing all of the energy, and just let it go into my shadow and just let it flow out of me.
All right. There is a small cracking noise as you reach the end of the process, as if a nearby window had suddenly had something impact into it. However, it's not any great noise, and there is... Sorry?
Oh, apologies.
All good. So there is a gentle click, and the door abruptly opens up. All right.
I gesture to Rithgar after you.
And then we go.
All right.
Can I do a perception check? Sam?
Yes, you may.
If that's needed.
I'll cast detect magic again. I'm pretty much just gonna have that going all the time nowadays.
Fair. Alright, perception. Rithgar, you can't see anything out of the ordinary in here. It seems as if this was just a standard sleeping chamber for most people. You can see that it contains a pallet on the ground. It also contains a drawer for clothes storage, as well as a chest at the end of the pallet to store personal belongings. Again, there isn't too much out of the way. There isn't even anything overly decorative in here, but you can see that the chest itself seems to be rather sturdy, but ultimately it's not actually locked. Detect magic-wise, Norloth, you investigate the magical aura of the room as you enter in. With a certain level of disgust, you realize that it looks like the changeling appears to have thought that the warding he put on the door would have been sufficient to protect himself and his various belongings. He has not actually applied any wards or protections to anything else in the room.
take all of his belongings and just put it in my bag of holding. that's its own pocket dimension. Therefore, it's not the Hag Queen's jurisdiction.
You're still removing it from her jurisdiction, though. So, for all intents and purposes, you guys are performing a break and entry. Rithgar, presumably you might have had a bit more experience about this in your investigative capacity. If you are able to roll a high enough stealth or sleight of hand, then you may be able to go forth and functionally do the plan that Luke said. So pretty much you're just covering your tracks. 27. Wow, very nice. Alright, give me a sec. Yep, you well and truly win that one. Alright, so in that case, you are able to go through and do Norloth's plan. There won't be any particular repercussions coming from that. However, during the course of going through his items, you do Norloth discover that he seems to have a variety of items which are very familiar to you. Specifically, as you open up the chest and pull out a blade, what looks like a sword's blade, it abruptly thrums into existence as a sunblade, your sunblade. In addition, you are also able to find a helm in there, which you recognize as Will's helm of telepathy.
Do I get my Rod of the Pack Keeper?
No.
Damn it.
Alright, so that's what you guys are going to be seeing and doing. Any flavor you want to add to that?
Rithgar, do you want a sunblade?
No, I think we need to. We can't. That's too obvious, surely, if we just start looting magic items at something. Like, Sam, I'm just going to whisper something to you.
Mm-hmm.
What does the fey creature in my head tell me to do?
Are there demons nearby?
The leprechaun in my head tells me to burn things.
You can just hide your stuff. You don't have to keep it on your body.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is, I've a spell that triggers off a vial, but I want to encode a memory of Tinkerette telling me that this vial will kill him if it touches it, and then just leave that memory strand floating around to see if he comes across it.
Yep.
As a trap.
Alright, easy enough. So, you guys are just taking all of his belongings bar this vial, or?
Well, can I, like, overcharge the sunblade? So when he activates it, it, like, explodes.
Ooh, okay. You know what? I'm fine with that. Roll me an Arcana to determine whether you're able to affect the magical design of the Sunblade in order to allow for that to occur. 25. All right. You are more than capable of doing so. In this specific case, what are you intending the Sunblade to do?
I guess just kind of like a mini fireball when it goes off instead of normal.
Yep, so a fireball centered on itself.
Yeah.
Okay, so in order to make the changes to it, you will also need to invoke more magical power. For a fireball, I'll be generous and say that you can use the equivalent of 2.
Level 3 slots?
Yes, they're spell slots. Alrighty, let me have a look. Anything else?
You should have made a power word kill.
I don't have that. I wish I did.
Oh,
Sure,
you
the
kids.
fireball will work out fine.
That's true.
Alright, so Rithgar, you have also functionally ensured that neither your traces nor Norloth's are going to remain here to implicate you within the theft. How do you do so?
I think I'm going to have to burn an equivalent number of spell slots to reward the door.
Mm-hmm.
And aside from that, it's my natural or my cloak of past my elven cloak is just sweeps away our footsteps. So yeah, will it be burning 10 spell slots to reward the door then?
Yeah, sure. Oh, sorry. Actually, if you burn 9 spell slots, that'll be enough to reward.
Do you need help with that, or?
No, all good.
Alright.
Yeah, and so I don't know if this is too hokey, but I'd love to leave. So I need to give Tinkerette this vial and tell him, you need to give me this vial and tell me that I need to keep it safe for you because it's fatal to you. And then if Tinkerette's willing to do that, I will then take that memory and leave it as an encoded thought at his door, right next to that vial.
All right. I'll say that's like setting a trap. So hit me up with a survival for it to, I guess, do the equivalent of, when you open a door, you get shot with the arrow thing that they like to do in Skyrim. In this case, you get hit by a memory. There was so much wobbling from that dice. All right, 26. Yep, you are going to prove more than capable of having that vial activate on the changeling when he arrives back.
Right. So he will have the memory of Tinkerette being terrified, appearing to be terrified of this vial.
Yep. All right, perfect. So the two of you, with your particular bad deed for the day done, decide to head back and, I suppose, either spend the rest of the day in the day court or in your private chambers.
I will also find Tinkerette and warn him to stay back at the start of the fight.
Yep. Alrighty. Now, Will. So, Will, close to the palace is an immense forest of anemones. However, this forest appears to have begun to sicken and die. You are requested to attend by the head of the palace grounds in order to try and find out what's going on there, as well as to try and help find the seahorse that you helped tame yesterday, as it appears to have fled its captors and headed into the forest itself. Alright, so this is going to be a fairly hefty lot of rolling. So, as you begin to enter into the forest of the anemones, you are going to have to do a survival check to try and track the seahorse. 17. Ooh, let's have a look. Wow, you rolled an 11. That is low for you. Wow. Okay, so despite your best efforts, unfortunately you are unable to find much traces of the seahorse. I suppose the reason for that could be that you're in an aquatic environment, not really used to things, but is there a different flavor that you would like to provide instead?
Seahorses don't leave footprints.
Oh, it's just in case.
Oh, a bardic inspiration.
Well, it's a day. I've got a whole pile of them to use. Oh, that was a 6 for so long.
I know.
Well, regardless, you'll be happy to know that all you needed was an additional 1 to get you over. Okay, so in that case, you are going to be able to find the seahorse, though at the basically you're going to go into it thinking that you're unable to find it, but at the last minute you're actually going to be able to do so. So hit me up with the flavor there.
It turns out they do have footprints. Just wasn't paying attention to the right part, you know. You guys ever watched Shark Tale? How they do the seahorse races?
Oh God.
And in those races, they actually do go along the bottom of the ocean floor.
Yep.
This seahorse does do that, but it looks like scuff marks in the ground that waves or that the tide would make.
Yep.
So and so I do a double take. I remember the film Shark Tale, and say, oh, this is the marks of the seahorse. Never mind.
You're just having to look at the car wash to yourself now.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Ugh, God. I forgot that scene. Thank you. My siblings used to watch that movie all the time. Ugh. All right. So, when you do eventually find the seahorse, you can see that it seems to have been driven a little bit crazy, as upon seeing you, it startles again before it just begins to rear up and, I suppose, lash out with its tail with a great deal of fury. You can see that something seems to, in particular, its eyes seem to have a slight film over them, as if there is something that's currently causing problems.
Alright. Hey, lads, you were right. You're right, buddy. You seem a bit airy fairy, mate. I'll probably cast Speak of Animals again.
Yep. All right. So upon speaking with him, he doesn't know entirely what's wrong. He was feeling fine this morning until he decided to go for a brisk swim through the forest like he always attempts to do. However, he was feeling fine until he crossed over this particular threshold of anemones. Even as you look around, you can see that many of the anemones which are growing here, as well as much as the coral, seems to have rapidly begun to wilt and die off in specific large sections. Right. Hit me up with a perception.
Wow. Got a 2.
Wow. All right. Okay. So with a
I should have cast Enhance Ability, give myself Owl's Wisdom. Damn. All good.
I mean, if you just asked to use your passive, then you would have succeeded too.
That's true, yeah. I'm fishing for those 20s, Sam. Alright? I need that ring of spell of resistance.
That's fair, I can't argue that. Okie doke. So with 14, you are unable to exactly track where the contamination which seems to be spilling through the forest is coming from, and after some time you also yourself begin to feel a little bit fatigued and sick from whatever is going on here. Hit me up with a Constitution saving throw.
Oh my goodness gracious, man.
Well, that looks like a nat 1.
It does, doesn't it?
So what was that you were saying about nat 20s?
Yeah, huh.
All right.
About that.
Did you want to use it or store it?
I'll store it.
Store it. All right.
I don't have anyone around to help me, so I don't think that'll be good. I'll probably start drowning.
I don't have any more familiars with for you to fucking send to another dimension.
Sends Tinkerette to another dimension.
Hey, maybe I'll bring them back.
That would be good.
The
That's
problem isn't when you start drowning, to be honest. Starting drowning is fine.
Is it the end of drowning that's the issue?
Usually.
What can I do here? All right. So, yes. You just automatically fail on this one. So you begin to feel sick, and like with the seahorse, you just begin to kind of have a more difficult time to actually swim and move around. You're considered poisoned at the current moment. All right. I'll let you do one more action to try and give yourself a Hail Mary. What would you like to do to try and finish off this challenge?
Right. Okay. If I'm going to be looking for something. Would a locate animals or plants be able to tell kind of if it's? No, I don't know if it's. Maybe it's just. No, never mind. I'm going to use speak with plants. Do coral counts as plants, correct?
I think they count as animals.
Yeah, they are.
Well, either or. Can I speak to the coral and say what's going on here? Why are you all? What's happened? Who's fucking up? Who's fucking us up?
Okay, yeah, marine invertebrates. They're polyps. Okay. All right. So, speak with animals.
They're one or the other.
Yeah, honestly, this one caught me completely flat-footed, so I'm happy to let this go through. All right. So, your communication with the coral, of all things, when you talk with coral, it comes across as more of a hive mind. You don't hear one voice, you hear multiple thousands, which eventually just blends into one singular voice once you're able to adjust your mind to actually hearing it. Regardless, the coral begins to talk to you, and it advises that something is in the water and also in the ground beneath, which has been flowing through for several weeks now and has been making them sick. Now, they have been keeping track of exactly which one of them has been growing sick at any one particular time, and they can even advise you as to the specific current to follow in order to locate the source of what's going on. So, hit me up with a survival at advantage.
It'll be a flat because poison makes me disadvantaged.
Ooh, that was a close. I saw that one. All right. So, a 21. You are going to be able to find the source of the poison. Flavor it up for me with this survival. How do you do so?
Maybe this is like a Captain Planet situation. I have to summon my inner powers and suss out the poison destroying the environment. Maybe I sniff it out, or maybe I even turn into an aquatic beast to better enhance my underwater features. I'll turn into, you know what, I never got to, I'm going to turn into the killer whale. A better sense of perception or something, because I have an inherent sense of being underwater.
What you're telling us is that you're going to free your willy?
I am going to free my willy.
Okay, well done.
Thank you.
Wow, that was a reference I didn't think I'd hear. All right. So, as you begin to lead the various aquatic fae through the anemone forest, you take some time before you can see directly ahead of you what looks like a rock, which somehow has managed to become sentient and has begun to move around. As you begin to swim slowly around it, you are able to recognize that it appears to be an earth elemental, though how it got to this particular location, you're not entirely sure. However, the problem with it is that it seems that a fair amount of its physical form seems to be made out of a heavy black material, which takes you a moment to identify as being made out of lead. It looks like this elemental has been poisoning the water flowing past it for some time. Now, to get rid of this, can I get 3 attacks in order for you to successfully go through without actually entering into combat? It is currently submerged somewhat into the rock. You need to hit it successfully 3 times. It has an AC of 17.
Alright. So, do I get any actions before this, or do I just... Actually, wait, no, I forget that I'm a thing, never mind.
Noted.
I'm gonna give myself advantage, but we're fine.
Is this based on the Tale of the Seahorse or whatever that random Facebook was?
The what?
Oh, there it is. Man, no. Did not like me as a thing.
Alright, so that's 4 attacks or 3?
And you've pissed off the dice gods tonight, haven't you?
Apparently.
Alright, so that is... Oh wait, no, one of those was a survival. Nope, never mind. Yep, none of those hit, including a nat 1. Alright, I completely derped on that one. Alright, with a nat 1... Ooh, what can I do with this one? Using or storing?
Yeah, I'll use this one.
You'll use this one? Not feeling confident anymore?
No, the other one was a con save, so I don't trust the con save rather than attack. I feel better about an attack.
That's fair enough. What can I do here? All right. So your attempts to attack the Earth Elemental unfortunately all do fail. It's simply because in your current form you're not really able to leave any particular lasting impact, as any physical attacks which you're functionally reduced to just drive it deeper and deeper into the sand. Now after the third attack, unfortunately, it does get completely submerged in the sand itself, and not only that, it does chip off a little bit of the lead component of the Earth Elemental, which unfortunately you do outright swallow. Now, as a result, you are going to be very quickly rushed back to the palace, as you will be now dealing with the ongoing problems of not only being poisoned, but now having your HP reduced to 1 until they can get you back and complete proper medical aid upon you.
Cool. I swallowed lead. Good.
Alrighty. And so, yeah. Now, let me have a look. So your actions have reached the ears of the Storm Hag herself, and eventually she does demand an explanation as to exactly why you thought it was a good idea for you to eventually pound an Earth Elemental into the sand, and instead of just simply reporting it so it could be dealt with properly. Now, as a result, she is willing to heal you back to capacity, but the consequence is that she demands you be entered in as a competitor into the games the next day to simply act as entertainment for her court, a mortal versus Fey warriors.
Right. Look, I'm happy to enter your games, but just letting you know, we didn't have time to report back the Earth Elemental. It will fuck the sea even more. Look, inherently I did fuck the sea still, but at least I gave it a real hot go, you know?
So she gives you a bit of a withering look, and she just sniffs disdainfully. If you had let this up to my Fey warriors, then I'm sure they would have been able to provide a little bit more help than simply bury the Earth Elemental.
Look, at least it's covered up now.
With that, she gives you a completely scathing look and then just turns on tail and leaves the medical area. All right, Tinkerette, you are going to have a fun one. So again, correct me if I have not been able to accurately predict what you might like to do here. So, after hearing the adventures of what his party members have been doing in the Changeling's personal chambers, it seems like it might be the time to try and goad the Changeling again and see if you might be able to get him to disregard the rules of hospitality. So the chance to do so does pop up fairly quickly. The Changeling has requested to perform again that night, taking the chance to perform a long and very witty performance about silly humans and how they trust too easily, leading to the Fae winning against them, with several pointed looks at Tinkerette the entire time. Now, to this point, you know that much of his performance is well below your own personal skill levels, to the point where if you had done that yourself, you would probably be very, very ashamed of what you were doing. However, your quick eye does immediately note that he is apparently working with a borrowed instrument that he is not too familiar with. So, there is a chance you might be able to not only goad him into this, but humiliate him before the big battle tomorrow.
Humiliation sounds splendid. And considering I'm very familiar with my wonderful bagpipes, it's time to get them out.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, in order to pass this one, his performance is a 13 out of 20. All you need to do is beat his 13, and you win this challenge.
What's that? And give me a bonus to charisma. Any party members? It's a terrible silence.
If it makes you feel better, I'll be amazed that you're playing bagpipes underwater.
Well, I spoke the manta ray allows me to do it, I imagine.
No, you're doing it with pufferfish.
Would me using minor illusion in some way assist you?
Yes, I think we'll need to use minor illusion at a later stage. So I can tell stories using minor illusion, as well as playing. So you can use your minor illusion, I'll use my minor illusion, and I'll play at the same time. Give it a crack, huh?
Okay.
All right, a 15 for performance. And wait, what was the roll for minor illusion?
But, it was just to embellish it. I don't know.
Ah, okay. So
with the puppet when we first did the performance in
oh, yep. All right.
We do a puppet of him, basically looking really stupid and hitting wrong strings all the time on a borrowed instrument.
Okay.
and with little musical notes tooting at his butt.
Easy enough. In that case, just roll with advantage.
Ooh.
25. Very nice. All right, so you've almost doubled what his performance was, despite him using Tinkerette's full skills as it is. So, Tinkerette, your performance blows the Fey Court away, and Durya the Changeling is left looking like a fool for being able to take a mortal's abilities, but not use them to the full extent. A sidelong glance at the Changeling Bard shows you that he is barely keeping his temper intact before he storms off. Alright, so the rest of your evening is basically spent...
My puppet follows him out. Up to him all the way.
Tooting.
Tooting and applauding.
Alright. So, your interaction seems to have won you favour with the court, if not at least the Storm Hag, who is acting somewhat ambivalent towards you after what happened yesterday, but the other Fae seem quite happy to at least see Durya taken down a peg or two. As a result, Tinkerette, you are basically lauded as a hero and have been requested by several of the Fae to act as entertainer for them for that night instead of Durya.
I'll be happy to oblige, but not eat anything or drink anything.
Oh no, you're still being protected by Norloth, I believe.
Okay, cool.
All right. Do you guys want to take a quick break there? It occurs to me we are 20 minutes over for our usual break.
Sure.
Yep.
Thank you.
No worries. Give me a quick sec. Stopping the recording in 3, 2, 1, now. Alright, welcome back, gentlemen. So, start of the third day. Now, you guys have been hearing that the last 2 days that the Fae are going to be holding some games in order to honour the Storm Hag and her ascension, which apparently took place quite some time ago. Now, most importantly, Will, you have now apparently been drafted into the games to act as entertainment, a mortal versus the Fae. So, let's have a look at what I have established for you. Oh, wait, is it really starting with that one? Okay. Now, most importantly, this will be a combined challenge, apparently, between both Norloth and Will. So, a chance encounter with Solturum the previous night has revealed that the mage has accessed the Storm Hag's library. However, it appears that Solturum wow, I really actually did not think this one through, did I? Okay. It appears that Solturum is returning again to the library. You know what? Screw it. I'm just going to start with Solturum for this one. So, Solturum. An idle thought continued to bother Solturum throughout the night. He risks the chance of offending the Storm Hag and slips away to the library once more. There, he resolutely walks through the various temptations of knowledge to go to a locked door barred with powerful wards, the restricted section of a Fey Queen's library. Now, Luke, in order to get through, you can try and rely on some of the knowledge that you've picked up over the last 2 challenges about the wards and magical powers of the palace. Alternatively, you can be like what Norloth has done and simply overpower the ward itself. However, that will require 30 levels of spell slots equivalent.
I think I might try my hand at trying to work it out.
Work it out. All right. Did somebody... That's for Will. Oh, okay. All right. Yep. So in that case, if you're trying to work it out, what I'm going to recommend here is if you want to do the traditional thing and try and open it up by being sneaky sneak, you can go for a sleight of hand. Otherwise, Arcana would be your way to try and overpower the system.
With my stats, there is only one option.
I can lend you. I can lend you my gloves for a sleight of hand. They give you +5. Is that of any use to you at all?
No.
Okay.
Just hold a second.
Would you like a bardic inspiration as well?
Sleight of hand. Oh yeah, your gloves would. He has a +0. Your gloves would just outright give him a +5.
I've got a +6 on Arcana.
We'll have a bardic inspiration as well.
Thank you.
Okay, so 24.
Bardic inspiration is what, a D6?
D6. Currently.
All right, so an unnatural 28. Very nice. All right, so you are successfully going to be able to maneuver around the wards and bring them down. Now, Luke, this is the restricted section of a Fey Queen's palace, and you are pretty much going to be working them and causing the wards to fail or shut down. Flavor it up for me. You're dealing with some pretty high-level, powerful wards and successfully moving around it.
As I reach out with my innate sorcerer's ability, I look at what seems to be an amazingly complex weave of different magical energies that appear almost impenetrable in the way that they've been woven together. But I find a small prey in one of the wards. What's that in the background?
Someone's watching something?
No.
I think it might be coming through Luke E's. It stopped now.
Sorry, I brought my mic up.
As I peer into this tangled monstrosity of wards, I see a slight fraying on one of the incantations, and I start worrying away at it and slowly pulling apart the weave and investing all my energy into slowly unraveling the Gordian knot of weaves until I pull one strand and the whole thing collapses.
Perfect. All right, so Solturum is in and immediately begins to look around for his target. Fortunately, it seems that this area of the Stormhag's library undergoes regular maintenance and cleaning, and before long he's able to locate exactly what he thought the library might contain: the recipe for cold iron. Dedicating it to memory and writing it down just in case, he leaves the restricted section and rejoins the Fae celebrating at the Colosseum. In addition to this, he was able to snag an item on display within the restricted section. So, give me a quick sec. Roll me a d4 followed by a d6. D3, yep. And a D1. Alrighty, so ruling from my rewards table, you just got yourself a very rare item. I don't know how much use you're going to be able to get out of this one, but let me bring it up into chat for you. Nope, looks like, yep. There we go. Alrighty, what you have come into possession of is a crystal ball. The typical crystal ball, a very rare item, is about 6 inches in diameter. While touching it, you can cast the Scrying spell with a save DC of 17 with it. It doesn't look like there's any limitation upon that at all as well. He already had to... Rob!
Sorry. What was that?
Nothing. Alright, so for scrying, you can see and hear a particular creature you chose that is on the same plane of existence as you. The target must make a wisdom saving throw, which is modified by how well you know the target and the sort of physical connection you have to it. If the target knows you're casting that spell, it can fail the saving throw voluntarily if it wants to be observed. So, yeah, you can pretty much cast Scry without any particular limitation, and that's apparently ordinarily a 5th level spell.
So it gives me the capacity to cast that spell without having to actually know it.
Correct.
Alright, well, I need to consider this this object which I've absconded with from the Sea Hag's library to work out how useful it's going to be. And I sidle up to Tinkerette in one of his breaks between entertaining the Fae and briefly whisper into his ear what's occurred.
Truth side, eh?
Shut the fuck up.
Yes.
All right, and I'm going to. When's the games?
So they'll be taking place while you are performing your little heist.
Oh, okay.
So pretty much you're getting in the course of less than an hour, then rejoining the rest of the group. So Norloth and Tinkerette and Solturum in the stands, I guess. So you guys are going to be seated fairly close to the Storm Queen herself. Maybe just in the watching box, maybe next to hers.
So we haven't missed Will or Tinkerette's bouts.
You have not, no. Sorry, you will be missing Will's bouts, just because I have something planned for that one, but you won't be missing Tinkerette's.
Alright, no worries.
Alrighty. So, with that capacity out of the way, Norloth. So, a chance encounter with Solturum the previous night has revealed that the mage accessed the Storm Hag's library. However, it appears that Solturum is returning again to the library for an even more urgent purpose that he won't say. It's up to Norloth to ensure that the Storm Hag is kept distracted from various magic pulses which might permeate the palace from Solturum's actions in the library itself. So, this is going to be one which is going to be done at the same time as Addison handling Will's side of things. So, Addison, Will is pretty much going to be a solo combatant taking on various numbers of Fae as well. For the two of you, this is going to be entering into a bit of a round system, though I won't bother about doing initiative at the moment. Addison, in order to pass for your particular rounds, you need to inflict a certain amount of damage per round. Any damage that you don't do counts as a failure for that round, and the damage that you now need to make up for is added to your HP. If you are knocked out, then if you are reduced to 0 hit points, the Fae Queen has advised that she will be sparing your life to ensure that you do not die. And Norloth, your main thing is to basically ensure that the Fae Queen remains entertained and otherwise distracted. Alright, so let's begin with Addison. So round 1, you are going to be coming up against a single Fae warrior who uses a blade. Please do your attack roll. Sorry, actually not attack roll. Let's just assume it hits over the course of the bout. Just do the damage roll. You're very quiet at the moment, Addison.
Sorry. 11 damage because I'm raging. So it's +2.
Alright, so 11 damage total?
Yeah.
Alright. So the bout goes back and forth, and ultimately Will is the one who is proven to be the victor. However, he does take a bit of damage in the process. Let's before I can make my final decision there. Norloth / Luke. The Storm Hag is currently bored. If you would like to try and jazz up the bout between Will and this Fey warrior, you are capable of doing so, but keep in mind you do need to be subtle about it. So if you would like to interfere or otherwise try and entertain the Fey Queen using magic, you may need to use a sleight of hand to confirm that you can be subtle about the magic casting, otherwise you might be detected.
Don't I just ask the Hag Queen if I can just change up the battlefield, make it more entertaining?
Okay. Hit me up with a persuasion.
Nope. I will use the sorcery point.
Nope.
Yep, no, I'm not good at
No, it's not giving me bardic inspiration, I don't think.
Now, you might be all that stands between Solturum and his being able to keep his magic crystal ball.
All right, take one.
What is it, D6?
It's a massive D6, yes.
Okay, so it's going to be a near thing, so I'm going to let it rely on the role play. If you give me a good enough argument, then the Storm Queen will allow it. If it's kind of a weak argument, then I'll decline it.
I was just gonna let her, convince her to let me cast a spell in the middle of the battlefield, and that will make it a bit more entertaining.
And what spell do you have in mind? Hunger of Hadar. You open a gateway. Oh, this one.
Yep.
Okay, the void is. Must make a dexterity saving throw. Alright.
Solturum is really unimpressed with this spell.
Apparently, yeah.
I just fucking fixed this.
Alright. So, you go ahead and begin to explain things to the Storm Hag, and for the most part she seems completely unimpressed. There is just no twitch to her face whatsoever before she just raises an arbitrary hand, granting you permission to do so. Now, it doesn't look like it has alleviated her boredom somewhat, but her attention is focused on the battlefield. For Hadar and Will and the like, I'm going to rely on a dexterity saving throw to handle things. So if you can pass the dexterity saving throw, then the damage will be applied just to your opponent. Alright. And what is your spell save DC there, Norloth? 16. Alright, that's
Get an advantage on dex saves for being a barbarian.
Thank you for reminding me. I always forget.
Rah.
12 plus. Okay. So that brings it up. Alright, so Addison, you are in the middle of taking on this one Fey warrior when the battlefield around you abruptly shifts into a dark, starless void, out of which tentacles come up and begin to grasp at you and your opponent. What flavor would you like to provide? You will be passing this round successfully, taking no damage.
I'm going to get my my quarterstaff and just basically beat back the tentacles whilst jumping and dodging, just pretty much avoiding all the tentacles that are coming at me and trying to grab them.
Perfect. All right. Nice work. So, Norloth, your spell is going to persist on the stadium until the end of this particular round, just because there's time between the rounds, and I think it only lasts for what? One action? Oh, yep, up to 1 minute. So it's definitely going to outlast that. So you won't be able to use that spell again for round 2. Now, round 2 for Will. You'll be going up against 3 Fey Warriors, this time each of them again using blades. Hit me up with your attack.
This time I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm actually going to cast Polymorph on myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to turn myself into a T-Rex.
It's what anybody else would do.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's entertaining enough that I don't have to do anything this round.
Alright. So I'll count that as a prepared action. You may now make attack as a T-Rex.
Okay. So that includes my multi-attack, yes?
Yep.
Cool.
I'm so tempted to transform one of the Fey Warriors into a Triceratops.
We will not be recreating the land before time here. Okay, that is... Holy crap, 21... Alright, so you are most definitely going to be able to succeed at that particular round. There is no problem there. Norloth, as you pretty much said, the instant that Will made the transformation, the Storm Queen did begin to sit up, and her facial expression changed from one of boredom to outright interest. So there is nothing that you're required to do for this particular round. Alright. For your polymorph, concentration up to 1 hour. Alright. Hit me up now, Will, with a constitution check. Sorry, concentration check. I mean, either way, really.
Who wants my last inspiration?
No one else is going to use it. I'll take another one.
Either you or Norloth, I think.
Yeah, I might take another.
Okay.
I might use that straight away.
Yeah, I thought you would. Alrighty. 16 is enough to maintain concentration. You will be a T-Rex, for the next round as well. Alright. So, you are now up against 7 Fey Warriors who use a mix of swords and spears. Norloth, as you look over at the Storm Queen's expression, you see that she seems to be growing bored again. Will hit me up with the damage, and then we'll see what Norloth can do to fancy it up.
Tail, bite with the teeth.
Okay, that's 48 points of damage.
So I'm going to cast Darkness on the battlefield,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm also going to cast Shed Sight with my Dark Stone Amulet or some shit like that. It's called. And so I will be allowing the Storm Queen and myself to watch the battle through the darkness.
Alrighty. Roll me performance for that.
Alright.
Sorry?
Nothing.
Roll performance.
Yep. 18, wow, very nice. Alright, and lastly, Will, can you please roll me a perception check at disadvantage?
Oh, no!
16 or a nat 20 with a 32. Disadvantage, sadly, it is that 16, which is going to be enough for you to wreak an absolute carnage on these Fey Warriors. Flavor it up for me. How do you decimate their troops?
Well, because my intelligence becomes effectively, 2? I have no regard for anyone's safety. I might be just tearing through even wherever I'm supposed to be combating. Maybe just swiping my tail, eating literally any Fey warrior that's next to me. It becomes a. Do you guys remember in Jurassic Park 2? when they take the T-Rex to not San Francisco, wherever the hell they take it to, and he's raging through the streets, that becomes me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's chaos.
All right. So, easy enough. Now, with the 18 that is provided from Norloth, it is going to be a hella good round for everything that's going on right now. So the Storm Hag is well and truly entertained by what's going on. She is not paying any attention to what's going on in the palace right now. Alrighty, let's have a look here. Hit me up with another concentration check.
Yeah, baby!
Hey, there's that nat 20. Storing or using? Alright, that brings you up to a grand total of 5. Alrighty, you are obviously going to succeed on that concentration check. Now, with round 4, things are getting much more difficult and much more complex. In this particular battle, you're going against 10 Fey warriors who use a mix of swords, spears, and nets to try and attack you and take you down. Hit me up with your damage roll. There it goes.
Can I say best combat of both seasons?
T-Rex versus fairies.
Oh, there we go. There's all the goddamn attacks.
Oh, and there's another nat 20. Maybe.
Well, there's a lot there, but it's the first bite attack.
Okay. First bite attack. Tail. Yep, the first bite is a nat 20. Alright, well, now you have an additional 2. Would you like to save it or use it?
Let's use it to impress this goddamn queen, huh? I've already got my 5 that I want.
Okay, let me have a look here. 46, let's double that to, yep, 92. Simply put, the damage that you've done in this round and the next is going to be enough to actually beat this round and the next one anyway, separately. So, what happens is you devolve enough into the rage that you not only begin to rush into these guys and attack them, but you do so with a ferocity that you knock down part of the Colosseum's walls and begin to ravage into the 20 prepared Fae who are taken completely by surprise and decimate their numbers as well. In addition to that, Norloth does not need to do any rolls to keep the Storm Hag entertained, and frankly she's just going to assume that he managed to concert this all on his own as it is. So, flavor it up for me in that case. Addison, what do you do?
Alright, I'm probably, even though I have an intelligence of 2, I still have the wherewithal to know that I have to impress this lady, otherwise we are going to die. So maybe as I'm tearing down the Colosseum, I come right up to her and give her a wink with one eye, and then continue raging through the streets, tearing up anyone I see. And that cheeky little wink was definitely all it takes to impress her.
Last time she was this flattered by a lizard, it was an ancient red dragon.
Good thing with rules with fire and underwater. Can I, be shooting fireballs to make a firework show right now? As the T-Rex just rages through everything.
Thaumaturgy?
You can shoot hot water, but yeah, thaumaturgy would be your best bet. Dancing lights? Alright. So, Norloth, what is your reaction to witnessing your companion?
She can shoot sparks.
You know what? Hit me up with an Arcana. If you get 15 or higher, I'll allow it. 22, I'll allow it.
Yeah, I'm just going to kind kind of stand there just jaw wide open, just like, what the fuck? Did not know he could do that.
I've been saving this. This is in my back pocket for ages.
Alright, so with the initial bouts of combat over, there is a moment of silence before the crowd just goes completely and uproariously loud, cheering, clapping, standing ovations. The Storm Hag remains impassive, as if just to try and ensure that she is viewed as respectful by the rest of her people. However, she does lean over to Norloth before she mutters very quietly, "I have been living for thousands of years and I cannot figure it out. How did you manage this? This was a show beyond anything that I've seen in my life."
Yeah, honestly, I don't know, it just came together so well. I've been planning this for weeks. Just never had the time to pull it off like this. But thank you for letting me have the opportunity to do this.
She just inclines her hand, again ever so graciously as the queen she is, before she meets the eyes of the raging T-Rex and indicates for him to transform back into his normal form.
The question is, do I? No, I have an intelligence of 2. I don't know what that means.
Hey, if you can wink at her.
Okay.
When you roll a 20.
Let's make an intelligence saving throw. 15. What does that mean? What does that mean? Does that mean yes or no, Sam?
I'm going to say you have the intelligence with a 15, yes.
Okay, no, I'll turn back. I don't want to incur the wrath of this woman.
Alright, that's your intelligence is a 2. It's actually a minus 4.
Well, I have proficiency in intelligence saving throws, so it's a flat 0. But yes, okay, I'll turn back.
Well, now I'm just confused.
I transform back into
Alright.
into good old Will. But how'd you like that, lady? Huh? Bet you enjoyed that, huh?
Alright. So she inclines her head once more and waits for the crowd to settle. When they are quiet, her voice begins to call out loud across the entire Colosseum arena that you are currently fighting in. You have performed admirably and sensationally beyond the hopes of what I had thought you may be able to do this time yesterday when you were lying in an infirmary bed. As my thanks for the entertainment that you provided to both myself and my citizens today, I offer you both the Champion's Reward for winning our games today, as well as a personal boon. I am led to believe that you own a staff of the Woodlands, as they are known. I am able to increase its power, if you would be so inclined.
I'm happy with that.
Alright. So she nods her head. If you will see that to the my personal servants before the end of the day, I will arrange to have it boosted and returned to you by breakfast in the morn.
Yes, ma'am.
Alright. In addition to that, she gives another inclination and a Fae flies down into the arena and presents you with a small pillow, which has a brooch upon it. Now, the brooch is of a strange symbol, which looks to be of a dragon's head, which seems to have be coming up and out of a storm cloud. You have also pleased me enough that you have my permission to wear my sigil where you would so like. It will inform other Fey Lords that you are one of my favoured champions, and they will be disinclined to interfere with your passage. Lastly, you will also be receiving the Champion's Reward, and with that there is another Fae who promptly presents you with a pillow with a sack of gold on it. In this you will find 5,000 pieces of gold. I believe that you will find this worthy of Champion.
Indeed. Not worthy.
then
Quickly, I turn to the crowd and be like, "Are you not entertained?"
well, kudos for only doing one Gladiator reference.
Look, I was a T-Rex once, that's what I could.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. So with that done, the Storm Hag again leans back over to Norloth before she draws his attention to look at her directly. Your capacity to entertain and keep these events very interesting is one that I would consider very valuable. Would you potentially entertain the concept of coming to my realm to be the master of ceremonies for my entertainment?
I'll have to consider that, but what's the purpose of that exactly?
Access to my library, to our magical stores, and of course keeping us all entertained. It is simply something you can keep under your belt. I understand that you're involved in another contest, but I think just to sweeten the pot a little, I will give you a sample of what you might come to expect, and you'll find it in your chambers later this evening.
We've always been obsessed.
Alright then.
What was that? Alrighty. So, when you do eventually return to your chambers later that evening, you will find a magical item there. It looks like she has provided you with... Give me a sec. Let's see if it's going to give it... Nope, not going to do it immediately, you son of a bitch. Second. Well, that helps, because I wasn't actually spelling it right. Alright, she provides you with Illusionist braces. The braces' power extend beyond illusions. While wearing the braces, whenever you cast a cantrip, you can use a bonus action on the same turn to cast that cantrip a second time.
Yes, that is perfect for me, because I need more of Eldritch Blast.
You need more what?
Now I don't have to use my sorcerer's points to Eldritch Blast twice.
Ah, yep. There you go.
Michael, read your messages.
Alright, so you two are done. Let's have a look at who comes up next. Looks like Rithgar. Michael, with the attention of the Fae on the games, Rithgar is able to slip away and do some probing in the royal palace. A chance encounter with a secret passage and the royal wing abruptly dumps him in a room filled with festering fish bones, clawing coral, and stinging anemones. Now, my recommendation here is an investigation plus acrobatics to try and avoid the inhabitants, but I'm willing to hear alternatives.
That sounds quite sensible. Am I going to be able... So Sam, my end goal here is to be able to be in a position to, from a concealed, is to be able to reach a concealed position where I can discreetly cast a spell into the arena. Is that plan ruined?
You will be back in time for Tinkerette's thing, but you wouldn't be able to help out with the others.
In that case, investigation plus acrobatics.
Yep. Investigation 18, acrobatics 26. Alrighty, let's have a look here. Rithgar quickly comes to the conclusion that he has somehow stumbled his way into the Storm Hag's personal chambers. After investigating her belongings and nearly getting stung for the privilege, he uncovers several scrolls detailing communication between the Storm Hag and a Fey Lord called Prince Santana. He has ordered the Storm Hag to enwrap Thogcha in her power until the contest is won and they can claim the city and Vaaderlund for themselves, in accordance with the expectations outlined in the rules. Prince Santana specifies that he will be personally involved in the initial stages, but once he has left the city, none are permitted to leave without the special passcode of Trixriv. Whatever price she extracts from those Fae leaving the city with this passcode is between her and them. No demons.
The through the
That
time
sounds
that-
like something a demon would say.
Did I miss the passcode? Where? Okay.
Yep, right there. All right. Lastly, can you roll me a perception check? Another 16. Alrighty. So, it takes you some time before you are able to extract yourself from the chamber and make your way out. You are able to make use of the same the same passageway into the chamber as the one that you had originally come through. But when you do emerge in the the wing of the royal palace, you are able to quickly identify where you are and can see that the games themselves are probably progressing towards being nearly over.
I make haste using my extensive cartography ability, cartographical ability, and do my best to find somewhere where I can be, where I can see but be unseen.
Yep, perfect. All right, hit me up with a stealth check. Yep, somebody came in.
Yeah, sorry, I had a technology issue. I'm back now.
Oh, good. Okay, is that a... Yep, 26. All right, 26 for stealth. Perfect.
Sorry,
Or...
let's be safe. Can I just run through what I found, what I just discovered again?
Yep.
I now know that I don't know the passcode, but I know that there is a passcode.
I just put in the chat. In the Roll20 chat.
Yep.
Tricksrev.
And do I know where I used that passcode?
Apparently, it doesn't make mention of anything. It just says that those allowed to leave the city must use the passcode with the hag, but she is allowed to extract a price from those willing to leave the city. So you may need to get a personal audience with the hag.
And even then, it's not a get out of jail free.
Correct.
Sorry, thank you.
That's all good. All right. So, the day of the games begins to draw to a close with the vaunted champion, Will Ferrell, being accorded a position in the box next to the Storm Hag. Norloth likewise has been upgraded in life and is also within her viewing box. As the... It helps if I'm looking at the right page. As Dolia the Changeling begins to emerge... Can I request... As Dolia the Changer emerges from one of the underground barracks and stands at one end of the Colosseum. Tinkerette, to this point you have been requested to basically emerge from the arena at the other end. Is there any particular preparations and so forth that you've done today?
Yes, I was in the bag. I was hiding in Norloth's bag so that I couldn't be... nothing could be cast upon me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want my ring of spell storing with 5 levels of shield in it?
Yes, please.
And if we've got 10 minutes, can I take a bathroom break and cast Planet Ally to rig the event?
Will last 10 minutes though?
Oh no, I need 10 minutes to cast it. Actually, wait. Hang on. Let me read what the item is. Because I think last time I was like, it doesn't actually take 10 minutes.
Casting time is 10 minutes. It's instantaneous. You beseech an otherworldly entity for aid. Being must be known to you, a god, primordial demon prince, or some other being of cosmic power. The entity sends a celestial, elemental, or fiend loyal to it to aid you, making the creature appear in an unoccupied space within range. If you know a specific creature's name, you can speak that name when you cast the spell to request that creature.
However, in the item, it says that each bead contains a spell that you can cast from it as a bonus action. So does it take a bonus action to cast this spell because it comes from the Necklace of Prayer Beads?
Let's have a look. Necklace of Prayer Beads.
Will,
10 minutes either way, does it matter?
Will, do you want to request that just for the purposes of this fight that he gives me my powers back?
I can see what I can do.
Also, Rob,
I will allow that because it does say cast as a bonus action. So yes, it can be used like that.
Cool, it doesn't take 10 minutes.
Sorry, Luke, what were you saying?
would you like to make an entrance or cast invisibility on you? And you can just walk up in there?
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is cast illusion, and I want, and I'm going to use, I'm going to cast illusion. So if I think Salty should make illusion to move him forward, and I will use my illusion to make my voice, but I'll be invisible beforehand.
Yep, cool. I'll make
And
it invisible.
if I can be hasted as well, that'll be tops.
All right.
I don't have haste.
Now, keep in mind, you are now in the Stormhag's viewing box. You will need to be subtle about casting magic anywhere towards the arena. So, presumably, you don't want to be interfering with that.
Oh,
Like, cast it in the bag. Cast it on me. Just stick your hand in the bag and cast it on me.
And then he just appears out of nowhere.
Yep. Okay. I'll allow it.
And I'm going to cast fly on myself.
Mm-hmm.
What else can I do? And protection from evil on myself.
How many concentration spells can you do?
Oh, protection evil is concentration. Oh, fly is what's his name anyway? From my bagpipes.
Alrighty. So the only thing I'm probably going to bring up is that you guys will be summoning a planar ally into a plane which has a guardian. So you guys do run the chance of immediately notifying the Storm Hag that there is a prayer going out, so to speak.
Right. What do you want to do then? Do we still try it and incur the wrath?
Between the fireball, the haste, and all the buffs he's got,
Yeah.
probably should have it.
Yeah, I think let's try it without that.
Alright.
Instead of that, then I will give you another. I'll give you a where is it? An enhanced ability. What do you reckon you're gonna need more? Would you rather Cat's Grace, which gives you advantage on Dex checks, which would be for your attacks? I assume?
My attacks are charisma.
I mean, are you gonna do melee or are you gonna spellcast?
I'm gonna do melee because I'm gonna use the dagger.
Right. Or I can give you Bear's Endurance, which gives you 2d6 temporary hit points and advantage on con checks. So what? Just give me a stat that you'd like for me to give you advantage on.
Bear is a good one.
Give you Bear?
Yeah.
Alright. I'll give you Bear. Let me cast it. And you've got. Hang on, I'll put it on.
So I've got 4 extra points.
You've got 4 extra hit points. Which is shite.
Will do. Better than a poke in the eye with a blood stick.
Well, you're not wrong.
Don't forget to stand back at the start.
Yeah, I won't. Yeah. So I'm flying. I'm invisible. I have an illusionary version of me who will step into the circle.
Yep. Okay. So, in that case, let's get this begun. So, for everybody else, what you see is a form of Tinkerette who is currently pacing across the sands towards towards the changeling, Durya. The two of them look functionally identical, and aside from that, you can see that the image of Durya itself seems to be wearing clothing more fashionable for the Fae. When the Storm Hag directs the two of them to shake hands just as a social nicety, Durya opts instead to simply spit at the foot of Tinkerette before he draws his green flame blade.
draws his blade,
Yes.
his sun sword.
Mm-hmm.
Right, lucky I'm hanging back then. With my illusion.
All right. I doubt this is going to last long, frankly, considering all the buffs you've just got. But Rob, would you please roll into initiative? 17, so for a 21. And what is this one? All right, and he got a 22. So add and Tinkerette. Add round divider.
Oh, dear.
Yep, that's the one. Okay, and a 21 done. All right. So as the round, as combat kicks off, the first thing that Doya does, a split second before the countdown is finished, is that he swings his Sunblade sword. As it begins to impact into the illusion that has been created, the magic of the sword itself begins to grow unstable, and there is a sudden explosion as the entire sword itself abruptly self-destructs into an immense fireball. Fireball damage, where are you? Okay, that's going to be 24, unless he is capable of beating a dexterity check.
Does he have disadvantage on that? Because it's like right in his hand.
Why, yes. Yes, he does. All right, so he gets a 6. So he's going to be taking the full 24 points of damage. And Tinkerette, you're at level 15, have 108 points of damage. He's just had his damage HP quartered.
He's still 14. I'll be 15 at the end of this.
Yeah, well, I'm just going by your D&D profile.
Okay, cool.
Okie doke. So, the explosion goes off, and immediately the Fae begin to scream and cheer as they have no idea what's going on, but apparently the first decisive blow of the battle has been landed by Tinkerette. Doya is thrown backwards. He is now without a weapon in his hand as the Sunblade sails away from him, now rendered completely useless. He does, however, have some other blades on him that he will need to bring out and use. However, he is now on the ground. Tinkerette, your turn. Horn of Valhalla. How did I guess? Oh, wait, remember it's meant to be mano a mano.
It is mano a mano. I said all my powers. This is my power.
No, but it said no summoning.
When did they say no summoning?
When me as the DM got confused and I said, remember it's mano a mano, just 1 versus 1.
There was a discussion on no summoning. I do remember that.
Right.
I was gonna summon some animals in there for you, but I was like, oh,
Okay.
Like a T-Rex.
Some chicken turned into a T-Rex.
The chicken's like, yes.
Well, I'm just going to fly up. Can I get advantage? Being invisible?
To fly?
flying.
At flying. I'm going to stab him on the top of his head with the with a cold iron dagger.
Oh, okay. Don't forget he has a... Yeah. Alright, so yes, you're going to be able to get advantage from that.
What's the bonus to cold iron dagger? I don't know.
I'll just be applying that my side.
So just attack with the dagger?
Yeah.
So that's 24.
That 2 hit, or... Because on my side, I'm assuming... I think no, that can't be right. Because on my side, it's giving the 24, and then it just under it says dagger plus 5.
Yeah, that's what I'm... It's just... That's the plus... Geez,
The damage wasn't rolling.
Yeah, the damage isn't rolling.
I have roll damage. Sorry.
Oh, all good. That's where I was getting confused. 7 points of damage. All right, so with the 24, you are definitely going to be able to impact on him. You 24 are going to be able to remain in... sorry. Yes, everything's going to be able to hit. So with the 24, that's going to be double to 14.
Oh, it doesn't kill him? Cold Iron doesn't kill him?
It does not. So as the cold iron pierces his head, there is an abrupt blood-curdling scream as his flesh and part of his bone begins to burn upon being impacted directly by the dagger. You weren't able to puncture into the skull itself, but you were able to land a very heavy blow, drawing quite a lot of blood. However, the reaction of the crowd to the dagger, on the other hand, is immediate, as the crowd goes from a cheer to pretty much just an immediate gasp of shock. You can see many in the crowd are just abruptly getting to their feet and trying to edge away from the arena itself. However, the Storm Hag is completely impassive and is just staring down at the combat below.
Do the Hexblade's curse on him.
Mm-hmm.
Bonus action. And I do a second attack, and I'll do it this time with my rapier.
Yep.
If I can find it. I don't know why it's not doing damage. It's weird.
Yeah, that is weird. Alrighty then. Now, it looks like he begins to get to the initiative. It looks like he begins to regain some initiative, and as you dart down with your rapier, he abruptly rolls out of the way, his head still smoking as he scrambles to his feet and begins to clutch at his waist for another sword, this one also a rapier, and in order to try and fend off this unseen assailant. He looks around wildly, trying to find out exactly where you are, but is unable to actually see anything at the current time. Invisibility doesn't shed upon the first attack, does it?
I don't know.
Give me a sec, I'll put it in chat.
All good. Yeah, mentally I'm going, is that Skyrim rules or is that D&D rules?
Yeah, it ends.
Yep, okay. So, Tinkerette, the invisibility is shed around you and you abruptly regain visible form.
Okay.
Alright. Anything else for your turn?
I just say, pussy.
Alright.
I try and move out of range. Come get me. If you dare.
So, he gives a bit of a scream of rage before he eyes where you are, and he calls you a mortal bastard whelp of a half-bred line of bovines. Can you please do me a wisdom saving throw?
19 save, holy shit.
17. Alright. So, as the vicious mockery takes place, it apparently goes through.
I have DC 19.
I'm rolling. Oh wait, on the other hand, it does occur to me that you have automatically succeeded on this. Because you advised earlier that your ears are currently plugged up and waxed.
Yeah, Yes, goodness for that.
All right. So when that is done, he begins to draw the blade, and there is a sudden moment where abruptly the blade bursts into a green-colored flame. He eyes you off in the sky and then just begins to, assumes a defensive stance. All right, Tinkerette.
So he's dodging after casting a spell.
He might be.
I know who I am, so I'm still trying to work out what he could have done. Okay, I'm going to move in to attack him twice. Why is this doing this?
Because it's D&D Beyond and it hates you. Like it hates all of us.
And he gets another +4 for Hex. Oh, he's got another 8 damage because of the Hexblade's curse.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to cast Hex on him. So he's got both of those. 4.
That's 20 damage so far, I think.
Yeah.
Was it 24?
Yes, that is a critical hit because he's got Hexblade curse on him.
All right.
For fuck's sake. Bloody Beyond, what are you supposed to do? Add another 4 to that, and what, do you double it, or what? What do you do?
I usually just double it to make it easy.
So that's 14, 18, 36.
36 plus the 20 from before, 56.
Rob, what's your hit points with your reduced character?
I don't want to say. It's 20.
All right.
I would just go look myself then. Sorry.
It's 24.
Yeah, 24. All right. So with that, as you begin to get into range, there is a sudden twist to what's going, a shift in the what feels like space around you, and as you get in close, he suddenly lunges at you and is able to attempt to attack you with his green flame blade just before you manage to hit him. So give me a sec. Make melee attack. Okay, there it is. You have way too many things, Rob. So many things. Okay, let's see if that goes through. See, it does it for me. It automatically goes through. All right, is a 17 going to be enough to hit Tinkerette?
Nope.
Nope. All right. So, would you prefer that you deflect it or that you dodge it?
I kind of Peter Pan up out of the way and it goes between my legs and I smile.
All right. Easy enough. So that was his prepared action that he had from before, based on other factors, that on his own preparations that he's done. All right. Was that it for yours?
Yes, I'll move out of range again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He hasn't hit me yet, has he? No. Okay.
No, not yet. Alrighty. So he seems completely flummoxed. He doesn't exactly know exactly how he's meant to hit himself when the form that he's in isn't actually meant to fly. So, how far away have you gotten?
Just like he could probably jump up and hit me, but it would be a very difficult thing to do.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I'm going to say 30 feet then. 10 feet.
I don't know. I'm judging from my own knowledge of my jumping capability. I want him to be at his absolute peak when he tries to reach me. So not much skill.
All right. So let's say that halflings are like Jack Russells and they can jump up to 15 feet. All right. Give me a quick sec.
Don't you dare throw that vial at me.
So, he casts a spell just as you do say that. Make me a dexterity saving throw. That is a 9. You fail.
Do I have the capacity to cast a counterspell at this stage?
If you have a sleight of hand, which is greater than 16.
I'll lend you my gloves.
That still wouldn't have got me. My sleight of hand is my dexterity, which is 10.
So, not good. Alright. So, in order for that one, it means that you will need to make a roll next time. Sorry, you can do a roll now, and then if you succeed, you might be able to heal him on the next round. But that would kind of be up to you.
No, I think I probably realise it, but it would not be successful. So I stand up in my seat, from my seat, and look anxious towards the combat, but refrain from casting the counterspell.
Alrighty. So, Hellish Rebuke flows out, and Tinkerette, you are abruptly consumed in a fireball of flame, which apparently is going to inflict 21 points of damage.
Can shield reduce that at all?
Shield, let me have a look. Where is the shield spell?
Can I, sleight of hand cast Healing Spirit?
Oh, hang on. I save against these things with advantage, so I can do it again because of my ring of spell turning. So I'll try again.
Alright.
Oh, that's better.
23. Alright. Rob. You know how you love me and all that?
Yes.
I am invoking your Nat 1 stored.
It had to happen.
You're only one. Alright. So, shield. When you take the hit, a invisible barrier to the side next to you, +5 bonus to AC, including against the triggering attack. Because this one doesn't exactly have a thing against AC, I will probably say no for that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, as it is, the two of you have already gotten each other to your last legs, honestly, because he is currently at 98 down 98 hit points, and you're down to 3. So he has 10 left, you have 3.
I had 4 temporary hit points.
Oh, there you go, you have 7 then. Alright.
Hellish Rebuke him back.
and I actually get Hellish Rebuke as well. That's my reaction.
As a reaction, alright.
Yeah, it's a reaction.
Yep. Hit me up.
A reaction? That's crazy.
That's 2d10. Oh, fucking hell!
And he needs to do a dex check, I believe. Yep. Dex saving throw. There it is. Which he does not pass. Okay. He's down to 5 HP.
Well, before, can I use my passive sleight of hand of 16 to cast Healing Spirit?
Yes, you can.
Cool. I'm going to cast it at a second level 2, so he gets 2d6. And you're going to get there every round, but it shouldn't take too long to take him down anyway.
Invokes another one. You cast it on the changeling. All right. So that was that. Give me a sec. So he
gets +4, and it's another attack. So because of what's his name, the hex blade and my hex, it's a different attack. So cop this.
watch as he rolls only ones.
4 and +4. That's a further 8 points of damage from the hellish rebuke.
All right.
He's down.
Knocked down. Oh, do you have to finish him with the blade, or do you just?
Yeah, I'm gonna. That's my attack is next. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna stab him in the head with a cold iron.
So what happens here is the hellish rebuke sounds out from the changeling, and even as Tinkerette is being consumed in the flames with his clothing and body parts just being burnt away, Tinkerette, you are able to manifest some of your magic and begin to redirect the hellish rebuke back down towards the changeling, forcing your magical power versus his. Eventually, the two magical forces worked against each other before you are abruptly able to gain the upper hand and short out his magic while consuming him in your own hellish rebuke. Alright, your turn.
Is he unconscious?
He is not. He is still barely standing with 1 HP.
That's 8 points of damage to him, not 4.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to use a 20. I'm going to stab him in the head with a dagger.
Just make an extra double sure.
I yell from the
Oh,
side.
you know what?
You
I'm
have
going
to eat him.
to stab him in the dagger in the first. See how it goes.
You have to eat him.
14, is that a hit?
It is not.
19, is that a hit? It's my second one.
It is not.
Well, then I'd take 20.
Yep. Alright. So, you know what the cold dagger does to Faye? Flavor it up for me. What happens, Rob?
He fucking melts, and I feel a surge of power as all that is Trinket, the real Tinkerette, comes back. And the dagger melts.
The dagger melts. Okay. Alright. So, this entire combat has taken all of about 15 seconds to anybody currently watching. However, the final blow of the changeling suddenly being stabbed by the cold iron dagger and melting away, only for the dagger itself to also melt under the fierce attack of the hellish rebuke. There is silence in the arena before a tentative clapping begins to sound out. You guys can see that power and magic is flowing through Tinkerette's body once more, and how does that one look from the outside? Because I know Solturum's was a big lightning explosion.
Yeah, no Masters of the Universe quotes, please.
No, there's a sparkle to the eye, and then my teeth seem to go as I smile.
Ding, 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 ding.
Fair
and
enough.
The bagpipes play a merry tune.
Alright, so the Storm Hag apparently now done...
I cast Minor Illusion with the puppet of the Fae and fart in his face.
You mean the melted pile that is his face now? So, the Storm Hag, apparently not overly impressed by exactly what has happened, gives a bit of a wave and then calls out across the arena. That will be all of today's entertainment. I hope you have found it satisfactory, before she stands up and just sweeps out of the viewing box. Alright, gentlemen, congratulations, you have made it through the session. And Rob, good news, you have your powers back.
Thank goodness.
Alright, well, gents, would you like to nominate your MVP for the day?
Addison.
Howard, but
Rah!
It's a tough one, but I think Addison, even though I think the teamwork in the final combat was awesome.
Alright, Addison.
And Rob's a very close second.
I think if there was a category for people who didn't turn into a T-Rex, then Rob. So,
It's a bit hard to beat. It's a bit hard to beat T-Rex.
Yes, I agree.
That's fair. You finally got upstage there, Rob.
is this the first time Rob hasn't voted for, or Tinkerette hasn't voted for himself?
No, it happens quite a lot.
Oh, really?
No, it is invariably the case that Rob votes for someone else.
But he
He's
always,
voted for himself.
yeah, I was gonna say he always starts off.
Alright.
and then I make my real vote.
Apparently.
I
Addison.
It's time to go Trump, mate. Like, candidate vote. I mean, I'm just suing Addison.
Addison, would you like the melee, magic, or rogue table?
What's going to have my ring of resistance, huh?
Good question. What did I put that on?
Oh, it's on there.
I mean, it might be.
I'm going to guess melee or mage. But I'm feeling melee.
Melee? Alright. Hit me up with a d20.
20, baby. 19. Close enough.
19. Alright. Unfortunately, that doesn't get you a magical item. But it does, however, get you more money. So give me a sec.
Money. Got to have
All right. So, over the course of the session, you have apparently come into possession of an immense ruby worth 2,213 gold pieces. So,
Ciruimon Tinkerette Trading Company is back in the black. Woohoo!
it's been a lucrative session for Will. Yeah, that's also true. Alright, well, gentlemen, very well done. We'll end the recording there. So thanks everybody who has been listening. We will see you next time. Now that everybody has their powers back, it's time to finally try and leave Thogcha and take the fight to the Autumn King. So, have